All right, we are live. Welcome to the stream, guys. We have got the Australian Grand Prix today. Lots to look forward to. 58 laps of racing around the Albert Park circuit, and well, potentially one of the most exciting races that we've had all year. So yeah, make sure you've got some popcorn, and let's get ready for this. So lights out is in 13 minutes time, and we have got all the drivers up on the grid right now. They're all waiting in their cars. Well, currently they're doing the Australian national anthem, and then after that is over, the drivers will get into their cars and get ready to go racing. But we have got 20 drivers, of course, and two drivers starting from the pit lane. We've got Bottas and Perez both deciding to start from the pit lane because it is well, Bottas qualified that 19th, which was the slowest because Perez didn't really set a lap. So yeah, both Bottas and Perez are into the pits. Well, starting from the pit lane, they've both made modifications to their setup from qualifying. I presume to optimize their car for the race conditions. But yeah, so that's why they're going to be starting from the pit lane. Ingles 001, I do not have a virus. It's just 5:45 in the UK, and I woke up like 15 minutes ago, so that is why my voice sounds slightly off. Yeah, I presume for quite many of you, it's pretty weird timing. Admittedly, in New Zealand, as Russell has said, it's like 5 p.m. It's great, but apart from that, most places, timing's a little bit off compared to usual F1 races, and that's why. Yeah. All right. So let's get started with this commentary then. We'll go from the bottom up. We got Sergio Perez and Bottas, both of them starting from the pit lane. As I just said before, they've probably done this because they are what's it called? They're starting from the pit lane because they need to modify their setup a little bit. They weren't great in quali, so they might as well maximize everything they can in the race, and that usually just means adding on a little bit more downforce, making your tire, like changing the camber angle and stuff, all of those different things to make your tire slightly less aggressive and slightly slow you down, but keeping less tire wear is pretty important around here, and in race conditions in general, to be fair. So Bottas and Perez will be doing that with those modified setups, and then you have Logan Sargent in 18th place, Guan Yu Zhou in 17th. Both drivers not doing the best, of course. I mean, Alfa Romeo aren't doing the best this season, to be fair. But yeah, and Logan Sargent 10 places behind Alex Albon, which isn't great. But of course, it is Logan Sargent's first season in Formula 1, so you kind of got to give him a little bit of slack. And talking about time management before, it is. So the strategies are start the race on the medium tires and switch to the hards, or start the race on the soft tires and switch to the hards. And those are the two fastest strategies. And then if you really want to do a two-stop, then start on the mediums, do a stint on the hards, and then do a stint at the softs at the end. So it's yeah. It's basically going to be a one-stop race, and we could see drivers doing 40 or so laps on hard tires, which would be pretty interesting to see if they can manage. But I'm sure they can, because Alex Albon did 45 laps, nearly 50 laps on hard tires last year. It was absolutely ridiculous, but nevertheless, it was, yeah. All right, let's see. Let's have a look at the chat. 1:50 p.m. in Japan. Hello from Tokyo. Nice. Hello. 2:50 p.m. in Australia. Yeah. Of course, that's where the race is going on. 10:50 in Jakarta, 10:50 in Oklahoma. But it's 10:50 p.m. whereas in Jakarta it's 10:50 a.m. Well, hello to see. Hello from everyone around the world. It's pretty incredible that we got people all around the world. You're from Australia and you're 2 kilometers away from the track, but from the roof you can see the red to blue area, right? Well, yeah, I mean, one of our moderators, Kiez, she is actually at the circuit. She's watching the race, which is pretty incredible. So yeah, obviously going to an F1 race is a whole thing of its own, like an entirely completely new spectacle. So yeah, it'll be pretty incredible to go. If there is a race, I'd go to Australian Grand Prix, probably up there on my list. Yeah. All right. So what else? How long should the race be? Well, I presume it'll be close to an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, depending on if there's a safety car or not. But 2 hours is probably the maximum. Yeah. All right. 8 minutes left till lights out. Then we have Oscar Piastri in 16th place, Nick De Vries in 15th. De Vries, in fact, getting out qualified by Yuki Tsunoda. While basically what happened in the practice sessions, Yuki Tsunoda damaged his car, and they only had one set of the new front wings. So Yuki Tsunoda went back to an old set of front wings and still out qualified not Oscar Piastri, Nick De Vries by a pretty significant chunk. So yeah, Yuki Tsunoda got some serious pace this weekend. Even after that little bit of a mistake in practice, sorry. And Oscar Piastri still behind Lando Norris, to be expected, to be fair, because Norris, very well experienced, quick driver. Oscar Piastri, his first season in Formula One. But yeah, nevertheless, Norris once again out qualifying Piastri. And then we have in 14th place, we got K-Mag. Yeah, not really much to say. But, well, K-Mag's been doing all right in qualifying sessions, but Nico Hülkenberg has been blowing it absolutely out the park. So we got Ocon in 11th, and then Nico Hülkenberg in 10th. He scraped it through into Q3, and so did Alex Albon. I mean, both of those drivers had a brilliant qualifying session yesterday, like absolutely fantastic. Like their cars do not deserve to be in Q3. Yeah, Albon was getting purple in every single second sector yesterday, and we had Nico Hülkenberg like up matching the Ferraris, matching the Aston Martins at some point. Like it was definitely ridiculous, the pace that they had yesterday. So props to Albon and Hülkenberg for doing such a good job. And then who else have we got? We have got Pierre Gasly in 9th, out qualifying Ocon for the first time this season, which is good signs really. So he's settled into that Alpine team. He definitely was struggling like last week and the week before, like 2 races ago. But he is now definitely settled into this team, and is doing a very good job. So that's good to see. And then now we get up into the top teams. We got of course the 2 Ferraris, the 2 Aston Martins in 4th. Well, Ferraris in 5th and 7th, Aston Martins in 4th and 6th. Pretty close on pace. The Mercedes have come out of nowhere. Their pace was definitely not their pace was definitely like not in the practice sessions. Like nobody expected their pace to be that quick. Even looking at all of the quali simulation data, race simulation data, Mercedes were not that quick, but here they are in 2nd and 3rd place, so that's nicely done. Now we'll see how they do in race conditions. Maybe Russell can beat Verstappen off the line. Who knows really? It's it's pretty much not a game of luck, but it's there's a high degree of variability. At the start of the race, you can have maybe Verstappen have a bad start, Russell have a bad start, someone's tires aren't warmed up correctly. The old map was better, but FOM is like going around like deleting streams and stuff, so I've just got to be a little bit careful. So I am just not using the map that I was using before. So that's all I can really say, to be honest. Not much apart from that. That's the reason for me using this map. All right. Tire info will come through in a second. Nothing as of yet. From which tires, which drivers are starting on, but we will get that shortly. All right. So Aston Martin looked to be pretty strong this weekend. Compared to Ferrari, their race pace is slightly quicker. Ferrari did have the edge in quali pace according to the simulations. Now, of course, the simulations and the actual timings are very different things. But of course, race pace is a little bit more accurately told by the simulations compared to quali, because quali the driver is a pretty big impact, whereas in race conditions the car's pace is a little bit more significant than usual. But here we are now, 3 minutes away from the race starting, so welcome along to the Australian Grand Prix, round number 3 in 2023. We are here in Melbourne, one of the only races in the Oceania region. So one of the only races in the Oceania region. We should probably have a couple more races, maybe in Australia and New Zealand. But the current Albert Park circuit, 5.7 kilometers, 14 turns, the highest top speed 326 kilometers per hour. Going into turn number 1, there's always loads of action. We've had action in the F2 race that happened a couple of hours ago. We've had action basically every single start of Australian Grand Prix. We've had action going into turn number 1. Turn number 3, of course, you've got that hairpin. You had Alonso had that massive crash back in 2016, and so many overtakes have happened at that point. And then turn number 9, turn number 10, the two highest speed corners on the entire circuit. They're absolute, so fantastic to watch the cars drive through there. It is sensational the amount of speed that they can carry through those tight bends. And then the tires that we've got, C4, C3, C2, pretty much just the standard from Pirelli, and track temperatures are actually 15 degrees hotter than they were yesterday, so Pirelli are very much in their working range, what they're expecting. So the clouds are out. The clouds are out of the way. We've got 17 degree air temperature and 34 degree track temperature, so that is very much what Pirelli are expecting in terms of temperatures for the circuit, and that should mean the tires should be a lot more comfortable and in the zone compared to usual. All right, so the starting grid, we have in 19th and 20th place, we have Bottas and Perez in the pit lane. Then we have Guan Yu Zhou, Logan Sargent in 17th and 18th place, Nick De Vries and Oscar Piastri 1 row ahead of them. Then we have Lando Norris and Kevin Magnussen in 13th and 14th place. Esteban Ocon, Yuki Tsunoda in 11th and 12th. Pierre Gasly and Hülkenberg in 9th and 10th. Then we have Leclerc in 7th. Albon with a brilliant qualifying yesterday, up in 8th place. Then as we get to the third row of the grid, we got Carlos Sainz, and starting alongside him is Lance Stroll. On the second row of the grid, we got Hamilton Alonso. That old rivalry will be as strong as ever, and we'll see what those two do into turn number 1. And then on the front row, we have got Max Verstappen and George Russell. It'll be brilliant to see what happens there and see who gets the lead of the race. If Russell does get the lead, can he hold on to it? So there we go. All right, let's check what tires everyone is on, and in fact, let's just do a quick refresh of the data. All right, we've got the tire information coming through. There we go. So we have got all of the top 8 starting the race on the medium tires. We got Alonso and Stroll both starting on mediums that are 1 lap old, because Aston Martin have this logic that the tires that if you drive 1 lap on the tires, they end up being faster overall. So Aston Martin will be starting the race on the mediums, which are 1 lap old, but basically the same as fresh mediums. And then we've got Gasly and Ocon, so both Alpine starting the race on soft tires, both Alfa Romeo starting the race on soft tires, and then we have Nick De Vries, Logan Sargent, Sergio Perez starting the race on the medium. So we've got everyone on the hard, so everyone's on the mediums, and then we've got the 2 Alpines and the 2 Alfa Romeos on softs, and De Vries, Perez, and who is it? Magnussen, I think, on the hard tires. Yeah, De Vries, Sargent, and Perez on the hard tires. So that's the tire situation. The expected strategy is start the race on the mediums or the softs, and then switch over to the hard tires. So yeah, that's the expected strategy. We'll wait and see what the team decide to do. The map has slightly changed, guys, because FOM is going around like deleting streams and stuff, so I've just got to be a little bit careful. So that's why I've switched back to the old map. But yeah, well, the old map which I used back in like 2020, 2021, once FOM like settles down a little bit and doesn't like delete everything, then I will switch back to the other map. You'll just have to give me a little bit of time for that. So yeah, all right. But the formation lap is very much underway. The driver's just making their way around the circuit. They will load in once the race starts. It will, yeah. They don't show up on the formation lap because I think I don't know. It's something to do with the GPS data. The race hasn't started just yet. The drivers are on the formation lap. All right. So let's have a quick look. Yeah, the drivers currently all in first gear and just, yeah, idling the car, getting ready to go racing. Oh, in fact, yeah, they've done the formation lap. I think they've all lined up on the grid at this point. Yeah, Max Verstappen, George Russell lined up on the front of the grid. Now Lewis Hamilton, and as they go, so all of the drivers now on the grid. We will be going racing in a matter of seconds now. Yeah, the formation lap is over. Well, for the first half of the grid, the formation lap's over. The other half is now just coming around the final corner and parking up to their grid slot. So it will be a matter of seconds before we go racing. If you are enjoying the stream, be sure to hit the like button. Very much is appreciated. And yeah, hope you're enjoying the commentary. I do a stream for every single race weekend. But this is it. Lights 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is 5 lights and lights out, and away we go. Max Verstappen gets a brilliant start. George Russell, in fact, side by side with Max Verstappen going into turn number 1. Russell goes round the outside and in fact gets the lead against Max Verstappen at the start of this race. What a start there from George Russell. Absolutely fantastic. Sainz is up 2 places off the start going into turn number 3. Brilliant start there. And we have got a yellow flag. It is Charles Leclerc is out of this race or has spun. I will double check, but yes, Charles Leclerc has got some serious damage. He is now down in 19th place, stuck at turn number 4. We've got a yellow flag on the circuit because of Charles Leclerc, in fact. So this is, yeah, not looking good indeed. Yeah, Charles Leclerc now down in last place. Looks like I'm gonna have to put the yellow flag out. Where is it? There we go. And we've got a full safety car. Charles Leclerc's out of this race. Can we get an F in the chat, please, guys? For Charles Leclerc. It never seems to go well for him, if we're being honest here. Yeah, an F in the chat indeed. So let's get a quick overview of what happened at the lead of this race. So George Russell went down the inside of Max Verstappen, round the outside of turn number 2, and just got a better start in general. Max Verstappen played it a little bit safe, didn't go as aggressive as usual, and then had to defend going into turn number 3. It was 3 wide. It was Hamilton on the inside, Verstappen, and then Sainz. Leclerc tried to go around the outside, just spun the car and then straight into the gravel, and because he was in the gravel he could not like switch, basically he couldn't what's it called, he had no traction and then just got beached in the gravel. So it is, yeah, not ideal there from Charles Leclerc. Mercedes, though, did have a brilliant start, and in fact it is currently a Mercedes 1-2. I don't know how long that will last, of course, but we are currently under safety car conditions. Drivers just going around, and we'll see who's actually coming to the pit. So look at this, Ocon Joe coming into the pit straight away off the soft tires straight onto the hards. So I suspect and same for Bottas, all of the hard tire runners, well, all of the soft tire runners have just come in for hard tires. Maybe their strategy is to just go right to the end of this race on one set of tires. That is what Alex Albon did for, like, I think he pitted on like lap number 3 or something, and then did like the entire race on one set of hard tires. So Alex Albon did it last year. There's definitely potential to do it this year Ferrari fans are absolutely devastated. They've got their head in their hands, and yeah, Charles Leclerc walking out totally fine, but his car beached in the gravel. So yeah, not great whatsoever. Not great. Perez and Sargent both came into the pits, and they are on medium tires, so they're starting the race out on the mediums. Not sure why they've switched to the mediums, because they're going to have to pit again, but you know, if it works for them, it works for them. All right. Yeah, not much else to say really. Okie dokie, one sec. I need to just. All right. There we go. Okay. Why have we got so many spammers in the chat today? Oh. Right. But yeah, Leclerc basically just got stuck in the gravel. He spun the car around. So let's have a closer look. He was trying to overtake Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin. Gets a little bit of a tap from Lance Stroll. But I don't know. Like, Leclerc seemed to be losing the car even before he got tapped by Stroll. So let's have another. No, it was definitely the collision that caused the spin. But no further action has been taken. It was very much just a racing incident on lap number 1, to be fair. So that's what's happened there. Leclerc turned it, maybe didn't give Stroll enough space, but Stroll was also pushing Leclerc very close to the edge of the racetrack. So it's a lap number 1 incident really. You can't really penalize anyone. There are about like 5 cars in the space of like 15 meters or something. It's pretty ridiculous. So why is Perez in the pits? Oh my god, look at this strategy. This strategy is literally so big brain. Perez came into the pits, did 1 lap on the mediums, then came into the pits again, is on the hard tires again. So they have fulfilled the requirement by the FIA that is like, okay, you have to do 2 separate, like, you have to use 2 separate tires in 2 separate stints. So according to the rule book, Perez and Sargent, both of them have pit and use the medium tires. So now they can go to the end of the race on the hard tires, which will be absolutely fantastic to see if they can do the entire 55 laps we've got remaining of this race on 1 set of tires. The hard tires are very durable, but the track temperature and stuff is pretty high around here. So yeah, it's a very difficult to see what will happen. But it is now green flag running. The safety car is into the pits. And we have got the safety car restart has happened. We got Russell, Hamilton leading the way down the start-finish straight. Max Verstappen is right on their tail, but not close enough for an overtake. DRS will be enabled in 2 laps time now, of course, because of the safety car. DRS was disabled. So here they go then, going through turn number 5 and 6, single file very much. This part of the circuit being very, very narrow indeed. But Russell still holding a solid advantage over Lewis Hamilton, and Verstappen now just getting closer and closer to the back of Hamilton. It's going to be an extremely tough battle here to keep Max Verstappen behind. He's got all of that pace, all of the top end speed, all of the speed in the corners. Yeah, very, very tricky indeed. But we'll see what the Mercs can do, because, well, they're both very talented drivers. Their car's fairly quick as well. So let's see what happens. All right, Verstappen quickest through the middle sector, Russell quickest through the first sector, and here they go, making their way around a couple of corners. Yeah, let's see what they can do. So coming through the final corner now, we've got Russell 8/10 ahead of Lewis Hamilton, and out the final corner, Verstappen 5/10 behind 5/10 behind Lewis Hamilton. Russell 8/10 ahead of him. Russell crossed the line, fastest lap of the race, a 1:23.1. That is like 6 seconds slower than quali, but like that's to be expected. Of course, they've got 100 kilos of fuel, and they're on medium tires instead of soft tires. But I have to point this out, the only drivers now that are that will still have to do a pit stop at the end of this. Like, well, of course, everyone's still yet to do a pit stop in the top 14, but De Vries will have to do a pit stop even though he's on the hard tyres, and the same for Pierre Gasly. Everyone else is on the mediums, which is the fastest strategy according to Pirelli. So yeah, interesting to see the different strategy choices here, but it seems like everyone from 15th place and below is trying to just go to the end of the race on one set of tyres. We'll wait and see what happens. So also look at this, Alex Albon once again up in 6th place, capitalizing off that little bit of a loss there from Charles Leclerc and gaining a position over Lance Stroll because Stroll had collision with Leclerc, but Albon up in 6th place, setting a purple middle sector just like he was in quali yesterday. It'll be fantastic to see if he can finish up in the points, because Alex Albon is doing a seriously amazing job in that Williams, just dragging the car into places where it really shouldn't be. So yeah, very much props to Alex Albon. Now, DRS has been enabled on this lap, and both Hamilton is within Russell's DRS range and Verstappen is within Hamilton's DRS range. And also Fernando Alonso has been holding a solid gap to Alex Albon and has been actually catching the back of Carlos Sainz. The gap is pretty close between the two drivers, but we could potentially see a little bit of a tussle there between the two Spanish drivers in 4th and 5th place. As we speak, Max Verstappen sets the fastest lap of the race. Russell fastest through the first sector, and Verstappen losing time now, being stuck behind Lewis Hamilton. We'll see if he can overtake. We've obviously seen past 2 races Verstappen just take pole position, get the lead of the race at the start, and then just drive away. So now let's see if the Red Bull car can overtake, if he's got some of that. Well, of course, Verstappen has got some overtaking skill, but we'll see how he fares on this circuit, because of course it is very tricky indeed to make some overtakes with the circuit getting so narrow at certain points. But of course, Verstappen now past his second sector. He had the DRS going through there. And now Hamilton right on the back of Russell. So it is a 3-way battle for the lead of this race. Going through now into turn number 14. Russell out the final corner. Gets a very nice exit indeed. Hamilton slightly compromised from the corner before. And now there's a lot of pressure mounting from him from Max Verstappen. Going through now down the start-finish straight. DRS has been activated. And Verstappen is just getting closer and closer. And does not seem to be letting up whatsoever. Further down the field, Perez has been making progress, just making steady, easy overtakes on Valtteri Bottas, Guan Yu Zhou now. Both Alphas have been overtaken by Sergio Perez, making steady progress up the field, 1 overtake per lap basically, and he is getting closer and closer to the top. Alright, so further up, yeah, the gap very much stabilized between Russell, Hamilton and Verstappen. And we've got Albon. Oh, Albon has made a little bit of a mistake by the looks of it. Yes, we were praising him just a couple of seconds ago. And we've got another yellow flag out because Alex Albon has made a mistake at turn number 7, and we've got another safety car because yeah, he has just beached it in the gravel at turn number 7. Don't know what to say, but we are still under safety car conditions, and the drivers that are trying to go to the end of this race on just one set of tires, they are loving this, because the more time they spend under safety car conditions, the less tire wear that they will have, and the less things that they have to manage, like less management that they have to do during race conditions, and they can do a little bit more attacking because you spend more time just conserving tires on the safety car. But looks like George Russell's into the pits. George Russell coming into the pits now. We've done 8 laps of this race, and Russell and Sainz into the pits. So a little bit of an early call there, but to be fair, if the rest of the grid can do the entire race on one set of hard tires, I'm sure Russell and Sainz can. So when they make their way out of the pits, we'll see where they end up, but it's going to be they're definitely going to lose a lot of places initially, and Hamilton currently has the lead of this race now, with Verstappen in second and Alonso in third with the fastest lap of the race. So that's a quick overview of what happened to Alex Albon going through turn number 6. He basically went on the exit curb, and then he was trying to carry too much speed, went onto the exit curb, lost the rear of the car spun. He corrected it, but then it was a bit of an overcorrection, and then went straight into the barriers, lost his front wing, and it does not look like he will be taking part in this race anymore. They will have to get the truck out, the lorry out, and pick his car up off the circuit, and carry it back to the pits. In fact, we'll probably have some... Oh no, I can't play the team radio, unfortunately, because of the whole FOM thing last weekend. But yeah, Alex Albon, I'm pretty disappointed about what's just happened there. The only two drivers that came into the pits were George Russell and Carlos Sainz, and in fact, I mean, looking at this gap, there are only 4 places between them, but well, in fact, coming out of the pits, there is only 4 places between them. Sorry about that. Yeah, so we'll see what progress they can make, of course, because they have, admittedly, they do have the faster cars, both Sainz and Russell, but they do also have the slower tires, and the mediums and the hards have a pretty significant. Oh, have we got a red flag? One sec, I will just confirm what's happened here. They shouldn't take that long to. I don't know why they've brought out the red flag if they have. Shouldn't be a red flag because his car is very much on the edge of the circuit. They do have the lorry going out already. I guess we'll see. Yeah, I'm currently getting a little bit of a thing from the system that tells me if it's a red flag or a yellow flag, or a green flag or whatever. They're saying it's a red flag, but the cars are still going, oh no, Hamilton's into the pits. It looks like we have got a red flag, guys. I don't know why it must be damage to the barrier. That's what it is. Yeah, there's definitely lag. I will fix that. I might actually switch to the other map. But yeah, we have got a red flag because yeah, it must be too dangerous to have the lorry out on the circuit at the same time. So that's why. Yeah, that's the only reason I can think of, to be fair. Everyone's into the pits now. So I suspect the reason for having a red flag is because having the lorry out on the circuit while the cars are still driving around is pretty dangerous. So that is why they have just called out the red flag. I suspect the cars will go out basically straight away, but that means if we do have a red flag, it will be a standing restart, which will be well, it should be pretty good for the drivers that are on the mediums. The drivers that are on the hards, not so much. Yeah. All right. Is tire change allowed in the red flag? Yes, tire change is allowed in the red flag. So we could see all of the drivers switch to hard tires, because we have had 8 laps of racing, I think we had, before the red flag got called. So once the drivers do come out, they've all technically done a stint on medium or soft tires, apart from Nick de Vries. So everyone except Nick de Vries can fit medium tires to their car and fit hard tires to their car and be like, we followed your rules, so let us go to the end of the race now. Yeah. No, Russell and Sainz both pitted, so they're very much actually losing out because of this. The red flag now means they can switch tires. Yeah, I guess that's what happens. It's very unpredictable, Formula One. So yeah. How many laps left? There are 50 laps left. Currently it says pit out of 58 laps because it's taking a screenshot of how many laps Hamilton has done, and Hamilton is currently in the pits. But we have done 50 out. We've done 8 out of the 58 laps of racing here. So that's what's happened there. What happened to Leclerc? So let's have a quick overview of what's happened since the start of this race. We've had at the start of the race we were 3 wide going into turn number 3. Hamilton, Verstappen, and Russell made it through safely. But behind that, Leclerc and Stroll had contact. Leclerc got spun around and ended up beached in the gravel. So that is why he is stuck. That's why he got DNF'd from this race. And then we had Alex Albon, who made an error at turn number 6, went into the barrier, bounced off the barrier, and he is totally fine. Got out the car. His car's fine. well, apart from the loss in front wing, they've picked up the car, but yeah, he was once again stuck. His engine completely switched off, and of course, no front wing. So that is why. That is why Alex Albon is out. So both those drivers out, both of them causing safety cars. Alex Albon, in fact, causing a red flag because of suspected damage to the barrier. And yeah, Russell is in 7th because he came into the pits under the safety car. As you can see, Russell and Sainz both switched onto the hard tires, whereas everyone else is on the medium. So yeah, that's why they are further down the field, because they ended up doing a pit stop. Also, guys, we've got 3,000 people watching. If you are enjoying the stream, be sure to hit the like button. It really does help out the channel. And if you haven't subscribed already, then subscribing would also be fantastic. Yeah, we got nearly 3,000 people watching, and only 200 likes, which is, yeah. Well, we could have some better ratios there. So if you are enjoying, then be sure to hit the like button. I will confirm why we have a red flag, but it will be most likely due to... Yeah, there's gravel on the circuit that needs to be cleared up. Alex Albon's car needs to be taken out, and the barriers need to be checked. So those three things in total, is what's causing the red flag. And yeah, Julian Elkash, 52 subs. Well, you remember watching when we had 200 people watching? Yeah, I mean, in fact, this whole streaming thing started back. I was streaming like back in 2020, but I only started doing commentary on the 2020 Russian Grand Prix, when a whole bunch of people in chat were like, you should do some commentary. So I tried it. I was fairly alright, I guess. And then yeah, 2020 Russia, I did a bit of commentary. Then in 2021, I did the whole season. 2022, the whole season, and that's how we're here. It's pretty fantastic, to be honest. It's incredible how like the progression has happened. But yeah, when is the red flag stopping? Well, we have got no updated time on that. The FIA haven't told us anything as of yet, but there isn't that much gravel on the circuit. They've already picked up Alex Albon's car, so it's just getting the final little bits of gravel off the track and checking the barriers. And apart from that, there's not much else to do. So we should have the red flag coming in shortly. The driver's still out of the cars, so the drivers aren't in the cars as of yet. They will be going into the cars shortly. I suspect once we see them putting on their helmets and stuff, helmets and gloves, they will be, the race will be restarting. Is it 10 minutes to a restart? Apparently. I will keep checking what the FIA is updating. But yeah, for George and for Carlos Sainz, they both got screwed under the red flag. They pitted on the safety car. They lost a couple of positions, but now under the red flag, everyone can switch tires. I suspect everyone will be switching tires as well, with Pirelli saying you can do 50 laps on hard tires. Usually the drivers are skilled enough to stretch Pirelli out an extra 10%. So yeah, if Pirelli says you can do 50 laps on the hard tires, you could probably do 55, and we've already done 8 laps of the race. That's sufficient margin for all of the teams to now just switch onto the hards and go to the end of the race. It might be a little bit boring. All right, race resuming in. We have the race resuming in 7 minutes time, guys. So yeah, that's the update. 7 minutes. Oh, in fact, 8 minutes. Sorry, 8 minutes time. And we'll have the race restarting. All of the marshals, they've got the track cleaners, marshals, all cleaning up the thing. The barriers seem to be doing fine. It was a pretty high speed shunt, to be fair, but at that point he had spun around like 2 times, so that all of the friction from spinning around slowed him down a fair amount, and of course the gravel did as well. So yeah, 7 minutes time, 8 minutes time till the race gets restarted. All of the gravel though, and the barriers seem to be doing fine. They've got a quick replay. Yeah, the barriers look all right. Of course they are expected to be crashed into, so they're doing their job as expected. All right. So we got 8 minutes till the race restarts. and then we will have the full procedure again. So the drivers will come out of the pits, do a formation lap, and then we'll have the standing restart as well, which will be, well, it'll definitely interesting to see, because yeah, the first standing restart we had 3 wide, 3 wide going into turn number 3. So yeah, we'll see what happens this time. We got Hamilton start leading the way, then Verstappen in second place, and then Alonso and Stroll in third and fourth. Hopefully the Aston Martin, what they can do is just hold a little bit of a roadblock there. But also they've been put in a pretty advantageous position with Russell and Sainz both losing out because of the safety car. Then Leclerc also out of this race. Both Aston Martins are in a fantastic position to capitalize, and we could potentially see another podium from Fernando Alonso. Of course, we've still got 50 laps of racing left to do, so you can't count that out. 50 laps of racing, 50 laps of mistakes, 50 laps of potential safety cars, virtual safety cars, and all of that stuff. But yeah, with the chance of Leclerc being out of this race and Sainz and Russell both being displaced from where they were, we definitely do have a pretty solid chance for Alonso and Stroll to score some solid points here. We could potentially see a Stroll podium, but with Alonso still driving his car, I don't think that's going to happen, unless, of course, Stroll's in third place and Alonso's in second. But for that to happen, also, yeah, just quick update, drivers are getting back into their cars, so yeah, the race is definitely restarting now in 6 minutes time. And yeah, what's going to happen now? So what is going to happen is the drivers currently getting into their cars. They will drive out the end of the pit lane, do a formation lap, which is like the out lap from the pit lane is the formation lap. Then they're going to line up on the front of the grid from the positions that they are currently in, and then you'll have the usual 5 lights procedure, and they will go racing. It won't be like a safety car restart or anything. It will be a proper standing start, like you do like you get at the start of the race. So that's what happened. That's what will happen. Yeah, Ferrari definitely did get very unlucky there. Both Sainz and Russell very much losing out. A very significant loss for both of them. It definitely not been ideal, but you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah. Also, guys, if you are enjoying the stream, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. And yeah, just the more people that we get watching, the more the merrier, really. Not much else to say. Yeah, I hope you are enjoying the commentary. And we will be going racing in 4 minutes time. 4 minutes. Oh yeah, by the way, all of the gravel has been cleared up now. The barriers have been checked. It's just the FIA gave like a 10-minute window for it. The 10-minute window is still obviously continuing, but yeah, all of the circuits, everything that had to be done to the circuit has been completed. They've got the tractors off the track. They've cleared the gravel off the track, and the barriers look to be a-okay. So now it's just a matter of time before we go. It is 4 minutes before the race restarts. In fact, I could probably just put a timer up. Let's see. Where is this timer? Right. Race restarts in alright. Let's see. Yeah, race restarts. I mean, that's the time where it's pretty small. We've got 2 minutes or so till the race restarts. It will be a standing start, and yeah, the drivers looking to gain off this. We've got Gasly, Hulkenberg. Of course, they do have George Russell right behind them. But we'll see how they manage. We'll see what tires everyone goes onto as well. I expect everyone will be going onto the hard tires, but yeah, we don't know as of yet, and the teams will of course confirm who's on which tires. But it's to be expected that most cars will be on the hards going right to the end of the race. And we'll see how that goes for them, because Pirelli said you could do 50 laps, but of course with this temperature, 33-degree track temperature, and you're starting this race now because you've only done 8 laps, right? So you've still got like 80-90 kilos of fuel in the car, so that's gonna put some excessive load on those tires. Well, not excessive, but it's gonna put some pretty high loads through the tires, more than you'd usually expect. Just the extra 80-90 kilos, that's a pretty significant chunk of the F1 car's weight, to be fair. So yeah, an extra 10% heavier car is gonna bring an extra 10% of tire wear, and we'll see if how that plays into which driver's hands. Of course, Nick de Vries is the only driver that can't go onto the hard tires. Well, he can go onto the hard tires, but he's gonna have to pit once again, so it's not optimal for him. So yeah, the drivers that have really been screwed over by this this entire like red flag thing has been George Russell, Carlos Sainz, and Nick de Vries. Russell and Sainz, because they did their pit stop early and they could have just got a free pit stop from the pit lane if they just hadn't pit, but of course they had, and that's just how Formula One works sometimes. And Nick de Vries, he cannot gain from this, because if he does go onto the hard tires, then he will then he still has to follow the rule that is you have to use 2 sets of tires in a race. So that's what happened there. But if we have a quick look at what happened to Alex Albon, he basically just turned in and just lost control of the car. Like the rear of the car just slipped when he turned in, and the rear of the car was like, nope, I'm not having any of this. And then the rear of the car just spun out, basically. So yeah, not great there from Alex Albon. But there wasn't very much time for him to react either. Like he was doing very good job in that Williams, but when you are driving like extremely fast in a car that isn't supposed to be that quick, usually what happens is your car is very borderline on setup. So like at most points in the race, you're not very stable, but you just manage it because you have the skill and you can do that. But a tiny little lapse in concentration means that you lose out. All right, so we've got now green flag running. Drivers now just coming out of the pit lane, as you guys can see on the map. Yeah, so that's basically what's going on. Alex Albon had his car very much on a knife's edge. He was managing that knife's edge fantastically, no doubt, because he was up in like 8th place in a Williams, which is definitely like not unheard of, but of course in this when they have this kind of pace, it's fantastic, to be fair. And yeah, the car was very much on a knife's edge, and here he is now, unfortunately, out of this race because he, just got on the wrong side of the knife's edge and lost complete control of the car. Alright, so looking at everyone's tyres, everyone is out on the hard tyres, with the only exception being Nick de Vries, who's out on the mediums because he has to complete like an extra stint, of course, on those medium tires. Maybe Nick de Vries could to prevent him losing too much time, he could come into the pits. I'm not 100% sure on the whole like rule situation, but Nick de Vries, he could do 1 lap on the medium tires, or maybe that doesn't count because it's a formation lap. I'm not sure. Yeah, actually it probably doesn't count because it's a formation lap. Anyway, interesting to see. Yeah, lap number 9 of 58 now. Drivers just making their way around on the formation lap. We will be going racing very shortly. Alright, so that's... Oh, Logan Sargent also, in fact, on the medium tyres. I don't know exactly what he's doing there, to be fair, because he could have went to the end of the race on a set of hards, but he is on medium tyres, which is interesting to say the least. Yeah. Alright. So, quick summary of what's happened in this race so far. Leclerc got crashed into lap number 1, spun around, got stuck in the gravel. We got a safety car, and then we had Alex Albon, who spun around turn number 6, hit the barrier, brought a bunch of gravel all over the circuit, and then brought out the safety car, and then brought out the red flag. It is a standing restart, not a safety car restart, standing restart. So Hamilton will be lining up on 1st place in the grid position, Verstappen in 2nd place, like they do at the start of the race. and everyone just doing well. It's basically just a race start procedure, identical to that. As of yet, why has Russell and Sainz both dropped down? Because they pit before the safety car happened, before the red flag happened, sorry, which meant that if the red flag hadn't happened, they would have gained a whole bunch of time, but because the red flag did happen, they lost a bunch of time. So that's what's happened there. Also, I would just like to point out that the map is slightly glitched. I don't know why it says George Russell is like right at the back, like the back, but he's definitely not. Oh wait, no. All of the cars are making it through. It's just Russell that is stuck. Oh, what's happened here? Is my internet like dying or something? Oh no, never mind. It's just a little bit of a glitch. Okay. So the race will be restarted. In fact, the race has just restarted. I just absolutely missed it because I wasn't paying attention. But going into turn number 3 now, we have got Hamilton in the lead, Verstappen in second, Alonso in third. Stroll loses out 2 positions. Gasly, Russell's up 2 places off the race restart. Brilliant race restart from him. Also, we'd just like to point out his GPS is broken. That's why it says he's at turn number 13. Russell's GPS is broken, so that's why that's happened there. All right, but back to the race. We have got Hamilton and Verstappen now out in the lead. Alonso trying to stay behind. We'll see how long he can do that for. But Gasly's still doing a very nice job up in 4th place. Russell will be applying a whole lot of pressure to him, and we'll see how he manages. Sorry for that yawn. I've had a fair amount of sleep. It's just pretty early. Magnussen up 4 places off the race restart. Nicely done there. Bottas losing out to De Vries, having a horrible race restart. Even though he's on the mediums, he loses 5 places. Not ideal for the rookie there. And DRS still not yet enabled. It will be enabled in 3 laps time, I think. 3 laps times, and DRS will be enabled. But Hamilton and Russell just going down. Hamilton and Verstappen going down the straight. Verstappen firmly in that slipstream, but not attacking too much. In fact, he's holding off that 1 second gap behind Lewis Hamilton. I'm not sure exactly what he's trying to do, because usually he's significantly closer, and I suspect the Red Bull also has pace to be closer, but maybe Verstappen's holding it back for a strategic reason. I guess with DRS not being enabled, there's not that much point trying to attack him, because an overtake is very much more uncertain. So he might as well just stay back, stay within that 1 second gap, and conserve his tires a little bit and like not have so much overheating. And then once DRS is enabled, just go full send and just get an overtake there. Yeah, waiting for DRS, as JD says in the chat. And of course, cold tires as well. They've only had 1 formation lap, and the hard tires take a while to warm up. So that's also another point. The blue, red, and the yellow on the map are just the 3 different sectors on the circuit. So yeah, that's just what the yellow numbers on the side, the sector 1 times correlate with the yellow numbers on the map. The red correlate with the sector 2, and so on and so forth. Carlos Sainz makes an overtake on his former teammate Lando Norris, going through into turn number 12. Not into turn number 12. Going now down into turn number 1. So what happened was, Sainz just got a mega toe going off Lando Norris into turn number 1. Got extremely close. Was not close enough to make an overtake, but going through into turn number 3. There's another long straight to slipstream off. Sainz sent one down the inside. Lando Norris didn't do too much to defend against it. He knows that Carlos Sainz is very much in a different league compared to himself. And Carlos Sainz up now into, he was up into 8th place, and now he's up into 9th place, and now he's up into 8th, making that overtake on Yuki Tsunoda as well. And as I speak, DRS has been enabled. Verstappen going round the outside of Lewis Hamilton into turn number 9 and 10. Going side by side is not an option here, and Hamilton backs out of it, and we have got Verstappen into the lead of this race. Hamilton in 2nd place, and the gap is 0.7 of a second. Now Hamilton has to hold on to this gap, otherwise he's not going to get DRS, and he's going to be put under a fair amount of pressure from Fernando Alonso. As I say, he needs to hold on to the gap. The gap is already 1.5 5 seconds. Verstappen, the pace is absolutely ridiculous. I have no idea where he's actually got that from. The gap between Hamilton and Verstappen, 2 full seconds, and Verstappen overtook him like 5 corners ago. 5 corners and the gap is 2 seconds. Verstappen has just literally just gone and like, bye-bye. And Hamilton can do literally nothing about it. Yeah, fastest third sector, fastest lap of the race. He goes 3 seconds faster than Hamilton on that one lap. 3 seconds. I mean, it's just that Red Bull is incredible, absolutely incredible. It's just like, see you later, mate. And it's just left him for dead. Fernando Alonso now getting onto the back of Lewis Hamilton. We'll see what happens there between the two old rivals. But Gasly still holding up there in 4th place. Russell made that overtake on Stroll and is now up into 5th. And Russell's of course got DRS on Pierre Gasly, so it's gonna be close. So I suspect for second and third place, we're going to have a 3-way battle between Hamilton, Alonso, and Russell. 3 drivers, second and third place, 2 positions up for grabs. We'll see how it goes. Also, Sergio Perez, yes, as Phil 4986 points out, Sergio Perez very much stuck there in 16th place, not making too much progress, stuck behind Logan Sargent. Logan Sargent is on softer mediums, but of course Perez is in a Red Bull, and a Red Bull is ridiculous, so we'll see how that goes for him. Also, Russell makes that overtake on Pierre Gasly going into turn number 12. Just a nice simple overtake. Gasly doesn't fight it too much. He knows that Russell is in a significantly faster car. But now we have a 3-way battle for second and third place between Hamilton, Alonso, and Russell. So 2 Mercs, one Fernando Alonso. We'll see how that goes. We got 45 laps of this race remaining. So still a fair amount of time left to go, but everyone on the hard tires now except Logan Sargent and Nick De Vries. So we'll see how they manage what they do. Perez does make the overtake on Logan Sargent eventually, going through into turn number 3, just double DRS zones down the start finish straight and down after turn number 2 before turn number 3. Yeah, gets those both DRS zones and sends one down the inside, gets the overtake done. So we'll see if he can continue making steady progress. And by the looks of it, he's only 2 tenths behind K-Mag, going through turn number 9 and 10, so he could potentially send one down into turn number 12. What is he going to do? He's very much within the slipstream and he's tucked in, but it looks like he's not going to go for one at turn number 12. It's a little bit too risky, and once you've got 2 DRS zones coming up, you might as well just play it safe and go then. Also, would just like to point out that the pace difference between Verstappen and Hamilton. Currently, Verstappen is going 8 tenths of a second faster per lap compared to Lewis Hamilton, which is quite frankly incredible, to be fair. Yeah, not really much else I can say, but yeah, just nicely done there from Max Verstappen. And 8 tenths is that gap is insane. Also, Carlos Sainz making progress now, overtaken Lance Stroll. So now he's got Gasly, and then once Gasly's out of the way, then he has Russell in his sights, which will be pretty good for the for pretty good of a recovery for the Spanish driver. Of course, after Ferrari made a little bit of a blunder, but to be fair, it wasn't Ferrari's fault. They couldn't have predicted a red flag happening, and of course Russell got caught out by the same fate as well. So yeah, nothing too out of the ordinary. Let's see. Gap at the front is very much stabilized, 1.3 seconds, 1.2 seconds between Hamilton and Russell, and we'll see how that goes, and if that does reduce further along. Also, Perez makes that overtake on Kevin Magnussen, of course, as we expect, really. And next up is Esteban Ocon. There's very much of a DRS train behind Zhou, Ocon, and Perez. So they're all, Piastri, Zhou, Ocon, Perez, Magnussen, Sargent, De Vries, and Bottas. So from 11th place down to 18th place, there's a pretty big DRS train, and Perez just making overtake after overtake, making his way through the train, and we'll see how long it takes for him to get through everything. Pit lane time is, I think, 23 seconds. So the drivers lose like an average amount of time. It's nothing too big, like you would get at Silverstone, but not a short pit stop by any means of the imagination. So yeah, the teams are expected to do one pit stop, and yeah. All right. Fernando Alonso, fastest first sector out of any driver, in fact going faster than Verstappen by 1/10 of a second, and it looks like Alonso is trying to catch up to Hamilton now. So let's see what if he can catch up. Of course, in fact, he's just dipped within the DRS range, and here he is now going through a DRS detection point, and Fernando Alonso has got DRS on Lewis Hamilton. So he is one step closer to making that overtake, going down the start-finish straight now, very much within the DRS and the slipstream. Just Hamilton now pulling him along, and there's nothing Hamilton can do about this. Both of them got the same engine, both of them on the Mercedes power unit, and top speed is pretty similar for both drivers, but of course, Alonso will have the DRS, the extra 15 kilometers an hour going down the straight, and that's going to help him out a fair amount. So now going through into turn number 3, turn number 6, and we have got the gap being 0.8 of a second. So the gap slightly being extended out there through the tight, twisty parts of the circuit, but we'll wait and see how that goes. Does Ocon have a valid gap to Pierre Gasly? No. In fact, what happened was, at the start of the race there were like 3 places between the 2 drivers, but at this point in the race there is how many? 7 places. So yeah, Pierre Gasly went up a couple of places, Ocon went down a couple of places, and that's why there's such a big gap between the 2 teammates. And in fact, Gasly re-overtakes George Russell. Gasly not giving this up easily, and in fact kept within DRS range of George Russell and is overtaking him. Russell's in fact lost 3 places according to his GPS. I'm not 100% sure if his GPS is properly working, but it looks like Russell's got issues. In fact, he's going very slow down the straight. Yeah, Russell's got issues, and has slowed down to a crawl coming down the start-finish straight now. And is all the way down in last place. So another one bites the dust. What else is there to say, really? I'll try and find out what issue Russell has got, but my TV feed is delayed by like 30-40 seconds, so you'll have to give me a minute. But it looks like George Russell is out of this race as of now. Yeah, there is some team radio. I can't play it, unfortunately, but I will just mute the stream and just play and just listen to what it says, and then let you know what it says. All right, yeah. So just power unit issue. There's fire coming out the exhaust of the engine. Lots of smoke coming out as well. He's just parked it up on the start finish straight. There are marshals there with, of course, fire extinguishers. Virtual safety car. The pit he's actually parked it up on the pit exit, so the pit lane is blocked. Nobody will be able to come into the pits. In fact, yes, we have got virtual safety car out. I should probably change that on the screen. There we go. But yeah, another one bites the dust. George Russell with a power unit issue. The track temperature is 32 degrees, air temperature 18 degrees, nothing excessively hot. But George Russell, the Mercedes power unit not being able to hold up. So we have got Russell out of this race, down in 18th place, so the 3rd driver to DNF today's Grand Prix. We've got a virtual safety car route. It shouldn't take long for them to recover the car. All they have to do is extinguish the fire, switch off all of the electronics and everything, and So if we have a quick look at what happened here, Russell just lost a whole bunch of pace. Gasly sent one down the inside. Sainz sent one around the outside. And Russell had no power, and then smoke started coming out of the car. And then a whole lot more smoke started coming out of the car. He came over the radio to the team, and then fire started coming out the exhaust. So yeah, power unit issue for George Russell. He's totally fine. But yeah, lots of DNFs here. And yeah. All right, we are back. They've literally got his car back straight into the pit lane. We are once again green flag racing. So Russell's car's just back into pits. It's just been pushed right back in. But this gives now the chance of Fernando Alonso 8/10 behind Lewis Hamilton. Actually has a solid chance of actually making a potential overtake here, and we could see another surprise podium. Maybe we'll see Sainz up on the podium, maybe we'll see Hamilton, or maybe Pierre Gasly, who knows. And we haven't had that many Mercedes engine issues, to be fair, like this year round. Nothing as major as this. Like there's a pretty big amount of fire coming out of the rear of George Russell's car, so not sure what happened there. And I'm sure Mercedes will tell us a couple of days down the line. But yeah, that issue is very significant indeed, and we'll just see how that goes for them, and if any other cars will be affected. Albon did not have an engine failure. Alex Albon crashed into the barriers. So yeah, that is the only engine failure that we've had is George Russell. Both Leclerc and Albon had like stuck in the gravel, stuck on the circuit. So that's what's happened there. Also, Fernando Alonso drops out of DRS range of Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton picks up the pace a little bit, and yeah, well, he's fastest through the first. He's got a personal best through the first sector. Sorry, and he is going marginally faster than Fernando Alonso at every single corner. So it seems to be that. In fact, this pace is actually pretty significant here. Sorry about all the yawning, guys. Yeah, I woke up pretty early for this race. But nevertheless, ignoring that, we have got the gap has extended out to 1.7 seconds. Hamilton gained 7/10 on the previous lap. That's a pretty significant chunk there. I mean, everyone's going green. Looking at the timing screen, everyone is green and improving, except for Fernando Alonso and Max Verstappen. Of course, Verstappen won't be improving because Verstappen already set his fastest lap times a couple of laps ago. But in fact, Hamilton's previous lap was actually faster than Verstappen's previous lap. So yeah, everyone deciding to improve after that virtual safety car, but Alonso and Verstappen still going along at a leisurely pace, losing out a little bit to the drivers ahead and behind of them. All right, Sergio Perez making that solid progress up the field now. He's overtaken Zhou up into 12th place. Next up on his overtaking list, Esteban Ocon, and he's right behind him. 2/10 is the gap, but there is still a DRS trade now up into 9th place. So that's going to be helping out Esteban Ocon, but there's nothing he can do against Sergio Perez. Makes an overtake into turn number 9. What a place to make an overtake. Turn number 9, the highest speed corner on the entire circuit, and Perez sends one down the inside of Esteban Ocon. Fantastic move there from the Mexican driver. Just absolute commitment to the corner. And yeah, brilliant display of overtaking there from Sergio Perez, making his way up now ahead of Esteban Ocon and now onto the back of Oscar Piastri. Brilliant job there from Sergio Perez. Admittedly, he is overtaking a midfield car, but nevertheless, that overtake is fantastic either way. It's like when you, say at Spa, if you overtake at Eau Rouge or at Suzuka, you overtake at 130R. It's a fantastic. It's any overtake at that corner is brilliant. No matter who it is on. Perez once again fastest through the middle sector. Let's see who. Adobul. Let's do a teammate check. Well, in fact, as you mentioned that, why not? So we got Verstappen up in first, and then we've got Perez down in 11th. Of course, Perez started the race right at the back of the field, so he's been making solid progress. Verstappen made his way up the top, so that gap is decreasing every single lap. In fact, Perez is right on the back of Piastri as well. And does he make one down the inside of turn number 9? This time he this time he does as well. Perez 2 overtakes at turn number 9. Absolutely mind-blowing. I mean, this man is just on a mission, and just making overtakes at turn number 9 is just what he likes to do, you know? Just for fun, I'm just going to overtake at the highest speed corner on the circuit. Why not? Yeah, you can't see Perez on the map. Unfortunately, everyone, when you do have a DRS train, everyone gets like blocked up on top of each other. But Perez is just here on the going down the start finish straight now. Right, and then we're continuing the teammate check. So we got Hamilton in second, of course. Russell's retired. Alonso in third. Stroll in sixth. So fairly decent gap there. But we do know that Alonso is a fair amount faster than Lance Stroll, so it's kind of to be expected. Pierre Gasly up in fourth. Ocon down in 12th. 8 positions between the two teammates. That's a very big gap there indeed. Of course, I mean, they started the race out 3 positions between them, and then we had. Yeah, Gasly gain a couple of positions, Ocon lose a couple of positions, and that's why there's such a big gap at this point. Then we have got Carlos Sainz, he's up in 5th, Leclerc's retired. And then we've got Nico Hülkenberg in 7th and K-Mag in 14th. 7 places between those two drivers as well. Sergio Perez this time gets the overtake done on Tsunoda just before turn number 9. But nevertheless, yeah, making solid progress. 3 laps now and 3 overtakes done, up from 12th up into 9th now. He's got a 5-second gap now to chase down to Lando Norris before he makes his next overtake. So just a couple of solid laps here from Sergio Perez, and he will catch up to Lando Norris. But yeah, gap between Hülkenberg and K-Mag, 7 places. So that's pretty significant. Of course, Hülkenberg has been quicker in quali sessions as well, so it looks like Hülkenberg's just got the edge over Kevin Magnussen in terms of general pace, qualifying and race conditions. Then we have Lando Norris in 8th, Piastri in 11th. So yeah, fairly decent gap between those between the two drivers. But considering Piastri is a rookie, it's his third race in Formula One. Not a bad job whatsoever. Yeah. And then we have Tsunoda in 10th, Nick De Vries in 16th. 6 places between the two drivers. Of course, De Vries the rookie, so to be expected. Then we have Zhou in 13th, Bottas in 17th. The Alpha's just not doing great this weekend and in this season in general, to be fair. So that's why they have that far down. And the 4-place gap is, I mean, it's only 10 seconds or so, so it's not that big of a gap in terms of time. But yeah, Bottas just having a horrible weekend, qualifying the slowest driver out of anyone who set a lap, and then starting from the pit lane and still not improving that much. So yeah, just a weekend to forget really for him. Verstappen sets the fastest lap of the race, just absolutely breezing past the competition. Goes 2 seconds faster than Lewis Hamilton on that lap he just set. I mean, yeah, sometimes Verstappen just like, we're just gonna go full send, you know? All right. Let's see what else is going on the circuit. Carlos Sainz makes the overtake on Pierre Gasly. So now we've got Carlos Sainz up into 4th place, making a solid recovery after that little bit of a unfortunate red flag that caught him out. So Carlos Sainz now up into 4th place. We'll see what he can do. Can he chase down Fernando Alonso? Can he not? But yeah, that's the main thing. Can he chase down Fernando Alonso? That is the big question. Hamilton over the radio says he doesn't think the tires will last the end. Well, that is interesting. Of course, we have got, well, we've got, how many laps have we got remaining? We've got 34 laps, 33 laps remaining till the end of this race. And the drivers have done 16 laps on those hard, so they should be, it's going to be pretty tough if they are going to make it out to the end. Of course, if there is another virtual safety car or anything, the drivers will immediately come into the pits and pit for medium tires. But yeah, it's that, I mean, the chances of a virtual safety car are going down now. Any driver that was going to DNF has already DNF'd, like in terms of who had a mechanical issue. But we could see a couple more DNFs, who knows? I mean, track temperature is 31 degrees, air temperature is 17 degrees, so there shouldn't be that many engine failures. It's not that hot. And And track temperature as well, 31 degrees is not excessively hot there. So in that department, tire wear shouldn't be that high either. Also, I would just like to point out, Sainz's overtake on Pierre Gasly was absolutely phenomenal. He faked going to the outside of the circuit. Pierre Gasly went to the outside to try and block him, and then Sainz started to the inside, sent one down the inside, and then just Pierre Gasly had nothing he could do about it, as Carlos Sainz was on the part of the circuit that he wanted to be on. But you can't just drive into another driver, so Sainz took that place away from Gasly. It was a very nice overtake. Yeah. All right. So looking at the lap times now, we've got a gap between Hamilton and Verstappen of 6.7 seconds. And on this previous occasion, Verstappen was six tenths faster on the previous lap. So yeah, the gap between the Red Bull and the Mercedes very much you just leave it. You just like, Verstappen's gonna drive off into the sunset, and you kind of just have to let that be and be okay with it. And then we have got Hamilton in second place, who is lapping 2 tenths slower than Fernando Alonso. So Fernando Alonso still has a chance to gain up on him. And we've got Carlos Sainz, who is in fourth place, also gaining on Fernando Alonso. It's all pretty close. I mean, a couple of laps Alonso's faster, a couple of laps Sainz is faster. It's it's pretty close between the two teams. Well, the three drivers, sorry. But yeah. Perez, in fact, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure exactly what Perez is doing, because the gap, it must have been like 5-6 laps ago now, between himself and Norris was 5 seconds, and now it's only 4.5 seconds. So he's only gained half a second in like 5 laps, which is not the kind of pace we were seeing before from Sergio Perez. So maybe he's conserving tires. Of course, Hamilton came over the radio, was like, I don't think the tires are going to make it to the end. So maybe he's like, I've got a 5-second breathing window of fresh air. I might as well conserve my tires for a little bit and then decide to attack later on, because of course we've still got nearly half the race left to go now. A little bit over half the race left to go. So yeah, drivers still doing a fair amount of time management. Of course, I mean, we are seeing, like, looking at just the sector times, you can see there's a fair amount of green, but most of it isn't personal bests or anything. And once you get to this stage of the race where the drivers are on like 50% fuel load, they should be setting personal best times. So yeah, drivers are definitely doing tire management. Of course, when you're trying to do 50 laps on one set of tires, tire management will be pretty key to this race. We know that Hamilton's great at this, Verstappen's great, and of course Sergio Perez as well. So we'll see how they manage. But I suspect that is what they are doing right now. They are managing their tires, because they've got nearly half the race left to go now. What happened to Russell? Russell had a engine failure going through just on the start-finish straight. Fire coming out of his engine, smoke coming out of his engine. So I had to park up and get out the car. So that's what happened to George Russell. Fernando Alonso, fastest third sector out of any driver, just like half a tenth faster than Lewis Hamilton through the final sector. But it looks like both drivers have picked up the pace, trying to catch up to each other. Well, Hamilton trying to keep Alonso behind, and Alonso trying to catch up to Hamilton. Both drivers setting lap times within a tenth of each other. Just trying to catch up to the other driver, and the other driver, of course, just been like, I'm just going to drive faster now. And the same can be said for, in fact, Carlos Sainz as well. Carlos Sainz trying to catch up to Alonso. Alonso's been just picking up the pace. And because Alonso's picked up the pace, Hamilton has to pick up the pace. So all three of them just going at consistent lap times, not gaining too much, not slowing down too much. But Carlos Sainz does have to keep an eye out behind him, because he has got Gasly and Stroll both within DRS range of each other. And Gasly is, lapping very, very quickly indeed, and applying a fair amount of pressure. He's not looking to like just hold on, to like stay on the back of him. He's actually trying to like potentially make an overtake. He knows that the Alpine car is very quick around here. In fact, last year, they could have got onto the second row if they hadn't had a hydraulic failure in quali. So Alpine were quick here last year. They've definitely got the pace this year, and they could potentially go on and get a fourth place depending on how Pierre Gasly decides to do this. But yeah, we'll see how that goes for the Alpine drivers, and yeah. All right. Also, Eric has just pointed out in the chat, yeah, the gap between Perez and Norris down to 4 seconds now, or down to less than 4 seconds, sorry. And Perez has picked up the pace because, well, yeah, he's going to try and catch up to Lando Norris, try and make an overtake here. What else is there really to say? And Max Verstappen with another fastest lap of the race, a 1:21.7, 1 full second faster than Lewis Hamilton on the previous occasion, and quite frankly incredible. Yeah, I'm very much yawning a lot. I should probably like drink some coffee or something, but yeah, I have to go make coffee, which would stop the commentary, so I can't exactly do that. I will actually drink some water. Just give me 1 second, guys. All right. Yeah, be sure to stay hydrated, guys. Pretty important. All right. Back to whatever's going on in the midfield. We have got Stroll right on the back of Gasly right on the back of Sainz, and Fernando Alonso going significantly faster than Hamilton. Yeah, significantly faster than Hamilton on the past couple of laps. He's closed the gap up to 1.7 seconds, and we'll see what happens there. He's definitely closing up, and Fernando Alonso has probably just been told to pick up the pace a little bit, try and put Hamilton under a little bit of pressure. Of course, Hamilton over the radio was like, the tires aren't going to last, so if you put a little bit more pressure on him, it really does well, stretch out like how difficult it will be for him to manage all of those tires as well, because he's got to keep up a consistent pace as well. We'll see how that goes for him. Yeah. All right. Further down the field, we have got Guan Yu Zhou applying a very significant amount of pressure onto Yuki Tsunoda and K-Mag. In fact, right on the back of Tsunoda. It's a three-way battle here, and it is absolutely fantastic to watch. They're just right on the tail of each other. And yeah, just getting closer and closer. We're getting some brilliant racing here between the midfield drivers outside the points, and Tsunoda just keeping a cool head here, just putting in some consistent lap times, not paying too much attention behind him, as long as Zhou isn't attacking him too much, which he isn't, because Magnussen's attacking Zhou and they're having their little squabble. We'll see how that goes for them. But Yuki Tsunoda just keeping his head down, setting some consistent laps here, and the rest of the field just trying to, not the rest of the field, Zhou and Magnussen trying to keep up there and not lose too much time, because if Zhou and Magnussen keep battling for too long, then they will lose time to Tsunoda and drop out of DRS range. So it's like, you know what I mean? All right. Let's see. Fernando Alonso now 1 second away from Lewis Hamilton, 1.1 seconds away. So it's only a matter of time now before he gets within DRS range. Well, as I say that, Hamilton has now set a faster lap compared to Alonso. So, oh no, in fact, no. Alonso's 0.5 faster, but the gap has now started to re-extend itself. Hamilton looking to pick up the pace because, well, yeah, he does not want to be overtaken. And of course, Fernando Alonso, Lewis Hamilton have a whole bunch of rivalry. It would be brilliant to see these guys battle it out once again. But as I say that, yeah, the gap has been extending. It went all the way down to 1.09 seconds, and now it's up to 1.5. So yeah, very unfortunate. Sergio Perez, fastest lap of the race, has caught up to the back of Lando Norris. So yeah, as we were suspecting, he's just conserving his tires really. because yeah, he was in a DRS train for quite a while, so just cooling down those tires, getting everything ready to go on another attack, and he's done exactly that. Fastest lap of the race, faster than Max Verstappen as well, and he is now 2 seconds behind Lando Norris. So he's closed that gap, which was 4 seconds previously, down to 2 seconds in the matter of 1 lap. So yeah, Sergio Perez, some serious pace there, and we'll see what he can do. Can he overtake? Well, he will be able to overtake Norris, but how far up the field can he get? That's the big question. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. All right. Yeah, Checo definitely woke up from his nap. All right. Further up the field, Alonso and Hamilton have had their pace stabilize. Both of them now, well, Hamilton got a radio message being like, Alonso's catching you, pick up the pace. That's basically what they said over the radio. And we have now the gap 1.5 seconds. So it got extremely close, but not that close. Alright, also guys, we've got 4,500 people watching. If you are enjoying the stream, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. Yeah, very much is appreciated. Thank you everyone for tuning in as well. But yeah, if you are enjoying the stream, hitting the like button really does help out, and subscribing as well is wonderful. I am also commentating for the next race in Baku. It is like nearly a month away at this point. But yeah, I do commentate for all of the qualifying sessions, all of the race sessions. So if you are enjoying, then yeah, be sure to tune into the future sessions. Okie dokie. All right. Getting back to the end, getting back to the race now, we have got Gasly on the back of Sainz now. 7 tenths is the gap. Stroll dropped off the back of him now. So before it was Sainz, Gasly, and Stroll, all within like 2 seconds of each other. But now Stroll has dropped off the back of him. So now it's just Sainz versus Gasly. Gasly once again just in that DRS range, keeping Sainz on his toes, and in fact pushing Sainz to catch up to Alonso, which is pushing Alonso to catch up to Hamilton. So if we're gonna give anyone props for making this an interesting race, it will be Pierre Gasly. The more pace that Pierre Gasly applies, the closer racing we're going to get at the top of the field. So I hope Pierre Gasly has a whole bunch of battery left, so he can go attack Carlos Sainz, which means that Sainz can go attack Fernando Alonso. That'll be brilliant. All right. Let's see now. Sergio Perez 1.4 seconds behind Lando Norris. He will start to catch up. Well, yeah, he'll be within DRS range shortly and be making an overtake very, very soon. Both Alfa Romeos gain a position on this lap. Zhou overtakes Magnussen, and Bottas overtakes Sargent. Tsunoda losing 2 places, in fact. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I mean, Tsunoda must have made a little bit of a mistake because... Oh no, in fact, Tsunoda was holding Zhou and Magnussen behind him, but then it looks like both of them got DRS and got passed. So, yeah, Tsunoda not being able to hold on. Of course, DRS is extremely powerful, 15 kilometers per hour going down the straights. So that is, yeah, nothing to be shaking your head at. And... yeah, Tsunoda losing out 2 places, unfortunately, due to that, but we'll see how that goes. Bottas making another overtake on Logan oh no, I think I said that. Bottas overtaken Logan Sargent, and Magnussen is up into 13th place. Alrighty, what else have we got going on? Gap between Sainz and Alonso 1.1 seconds, so gap is getting closer and closer. That's all due to Pierre Gasly applying some pressure, and now Alonso is going to have to pick up the pace trying to catch up to Hamilton. Yeah, 1.1 seconds is the gap between Sainz and Alonso. So I suspect the team radio, Aston Martin engineers are going to be coming over the radio and be like, you got to pick up the pace here, otherwise Sainz is going to get within DRS range. And then it's game over, basically, because if Sainz and Alonso keep battling, then Hamilton can just drive away into the sunset. So here we go then. It is now a 1.1 second gap between Hamilton and Alonso, 1.2 seconds between Alonso and Sainz. So we are building up to a three-way battle for second place now. This is going to be fantastic to watch. And we've still got 22 laps of racing left as well. So yeah, let's wait and see what happens here. Yes, admittedly, the other map is significantly better. I will switch to the other map next weekend. Like in Baku, I will switch back to the old map. But yeah, for now we're on this map, so let's just keep it the way it is. And we'll switch back next weekend. All right. So gap now 1.1 seconds. It is getting so close to DRS range, and the drivers are just battling away to keep it outside of DRS because it is DRS, of course, not ideal. When 15 kilometers an hour, very significant advantage. You don't want your opponents getting that. Max Verstappen just at the lead of this race. Yeah, we'll just have a quick Verstappen update every like 10 laps or so. Verstappen, fastest lap of the race, 9 seconds ahead of the competition. Probably coming up to lap some drivers very soon. Yeah, in fact, coming up to lap Logan Sargent in a bit. But yeah, that's all we've got for Max Verstappen. Just a 9 second gap ahead of the rest of the competition. And in fact, Lewis Hamilton pulls out a 1:21.4, going 3 milliseconds faster than Max Verstappen here because, well, he's under pressure from Fernando Alonso. Fernando Alonso is under pressure from Carlos Sainz, and Carlos Sainz is under pressure from Pierre Gasly. So we're gonna have a very interesting battle here. Gap 1.1 seconds, and we have got Fernando Alonso purple through the first sector. We'll see what he can do through the second sector. But it looks good, and Fernando Alonso could potentially get within DRS range. It's 1.08 seconds, 1.08. It's so close. Just one good corner here and a little mistake from Hamilton, and that could mean Alonso's within DRS range, and we have a three-way battle for second. It's, yeah. All right. Why there were like 2 people in chat asking me to say green eggs and ham. Well, I guess I've already said it, so there you go. But yeah, I don't know why people are asking me to say that. Anyway, we've got Pierre Gasly 8/10 behind Carlos Sainz, so still applying that pressure, and is now catching up and now Sainz catching up to Alonso, and the gap now 1.3 seconds, unfortunately. Yeah, it got extended out again. So yeah, we've just been getting closer and closer to that 1 second window and then just falling back away from it. Perez is close to DRS range of Lando Norris. Who pointed that out in chat? Someone pointed out. They've just scrolled past it, I think. Ruben Tambilson, hopefully I said that right, pointed out that Perez very close to DRS range of Norris now. 1.1 seconds is the gap, and we'll see what he can do from there. But it looks like Alonso's pace has dropped off a little bit. Hamilton's still consistently going with the fastest first sector, fastest lap. Oh no, Verstappen's got the fastest lap of the race now, but yeah, Hamilton with the fastest first sector. But the thing is, you've got to consider now that if Alonso and if Hamilton is attacking and is like, well, wearing out his tires a little bit too much to keep that 1 second gap ahead of Fernando Alonso, maybe come by the end of this race, Hamilton tires will be done, and we could see Alonso mount an attack at the end of the race. But saying that, it could also be Alonso's tires are done because he's been within. Because you think about it, Hamilton's just had clear air ahead of him, whereas Alonso has had the hot, dirty air coming off the back of Hamilton's car. So yeah, that's another thing to consider. We'll have to see. Can Perez make it into the top 7? Well, it depends how quick he can make this overtake on Lando Norris. He's been behind Lando Norris for quite a while now, and he's just been hovering 1.4 seconds behind him. So if he can make that overtake soon, then he can definitely make it into the top 7. But if not, then it's going to be a very long 18 laps for Sergio Perez. DRS range is when the gap is less than 1 second, so 1.0 seconds. And so currently, if you look at the interval column, the INT column, you see the gap between Sainz and Gasly. So on Gasly's thing, it says 0.7 seconds, which is 0.7 of a second, less than 1 full second, basically. And that means that Gasly has DRS on Carlos Sainz. So there we go. All right, yeah, Perez should have gone. I mean, the thing is, Perez going all in earlier would have been pretty like devastating to his tires. So I mean, currently the gap is 1.1 seconds, so he's not out of reach. Like, probably just needs a little bit of a boost out of like a couple of corners with the battery, and he will chase down Lando Norris. In fact, as I say that, he is just dips into the DRS range, 0.999 seconds behind him. But yeah, it's going to be tough for him to make an overtake. Now, of course, Lando Norris, fairly decent driver, and he knows that if he defends against Perez, then he could actually keep him behind, because Perez does not seem to have that much pace. So we could get the McLaren team over the radio being like, right, start defending, because there's no point. You're not going to catch up to Hulkenberg by the looks of it. Norris hasn't been gaining that much on Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg has been setting solid lap times as well. I would just like to point out Nico Hulkenberg. Actually, I would say my driver of the day is Pierre Gasly, but Nico Hulkenberg, a solid runner-up to my driver of the day, just consistently lapping away in that Haas, which we know isn't that quick of a car. Yeah, he's doing a very solid job indeed. In fact, also, guys, who is your driver of the day? Who would you vote for as your driver of the day? And yeah, would love to hear your opinions and stuff in the chat. All right, Max Verstappen, fastest lap of the race, 10 seconds ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Gap between Hamilton and Alonso, 2 seconds. Gap between Sainz and Alonso, 1.8 seconds. So it is, yeah, not, the hope that we had of a three-way battle for second position has very much faded away. But of course, we've still got 16 laps left to go. And yeah. Yeah, Pierre Gasly definitely... Max, yeah, he made a couple of overtakes, and then is 10 seconds into the race. Solid job from him. Nico Hulkenberg as well, yeah, definitely potential for driver of the day. Lance Stroll's been doing a decent job, but of course Fernando Alonso has been doing a better job. So I guess yeah, don't know exactly what you could say for that. And Sergio Perez has made solid progress. Started the race in 20th, up into 9th. Admittedly, there have been 3 DNFs, so. That's the same as starting the race in 17th and up into 9th. But yeah, I mean, considering he has a Red Bull, you would expect a little bit more performance out of him. And talking about of a little bit more performance, he has that's the fastest first sector, has DRS range on Lando Norris, and here he is now going down the start-finish straight. He's got the DRS, he's got the slipstream, he's not close enough at turn number 1, but he gets a nice exit out of turn number 2, and pressure is mounting there here on Lando Norris. The DRS and the slipstream helping out Sergio Perez massively. Can't make a move done into turn number 3, so he's now got he's got a couple more corners to deal with before another DRS zone appears. And he could go off for a signature move at turn number 9, which he's done a couple of times this race. Which would be fantastic to watch, because yeah, it's always a spectacle making an overtake going into a high-speed corner. So let's see, what can Sergio Perez do? 5/10 is the gap, and it's getting closer and closer. The closer he gets, the more powerful the slipstream gets. And here he goes into turn number 9, makes that move on Lando Norris. Fantastic job there from Sergio Perez. Nicely done once again. Now up into 8th place. Also, let's just have a quick look at the top speeds. What top speeds is everyone setting? I've just clicked past it. All right, looking at the top speeds, we've got the highest top speed being Oscar Piastri with a 325 kilometers an hour. But looking at everyone else, 317, 310, 315. So yeah, Oscar Piastri definitely got a mega toe whenever he got hit this top speed, but the rest of the drivers lapping pretty consistently at the same top speed. So yeah, it's looking pretty good. I mean, the Ferraris and the Alpines both pretty quick under DRS conditions. Sergio Perez, I think why Perez is struggling is because he hasn't got that much top speed compared to the rest of the cars. he's lacking that little bit of top end performance. They probably put a little bit too much downforce onto that Red Bull, because I mean that helps with the tire wear, of course. More downforce means less tire wear, but yeah, that also means less top speed and making that overtaking significantly harder. But here he is now, on within DRS range of Nico Hulkenberg. 4/10 is the gap going in now through into turn number 9 and 10. DRS will once again be enabled. Coming out of the exit of that corner, what can Sergio Perez do? He's not close enough. Oh, as I say, he is not close enough. He sends one down the inside. Nico Hulkenberg has to get out of the way. But Sergio Perez, what a brave move there. Lunging from all the way that far back, and he's just sent one into turn number 12. Brilliant job there. 2 laps, 2 overtakes from Sergio Perez. He makes his way into 7th position. But now he's got a 4-second gap to catch up to Lance Stroll, so that's going to be extremely difficult, and we'll see how that goes for him. Yeah. All right. Now, once again, back at the front of the field, gap 1.4 seconds. It is close, but we still yet to see if Alonso can actually close up to Hamilton. Sainz has dropped off the back of Alonso. 2 seconds is the gap between Sainz and Alonso. Previously, the closest it got was, I think, 1.1 seconds or something. So yeah, it's been pretty solid from Fernando Alonso. His pace has been consistent. Sainz has dropped off a little bit, and Hamilton has managed to keep up with Fernando Alonso so far. But we don't know who has the faster car as of yet. Like, who's suffering from more tire wear? It could be Hamilton suffering from more tire wear. Maybe Alonso is. Admittedly, Hamilton did come over the radio a lot earlier, being like, the tires aren't going to work till the end of this race. But we also know that Hamilton does that quite often. So yeah, still a bit of speculation as to who's got worse tire wear, who has more tire life. We've got 12 laps remaining of this race. Also, guys, we are 100 subscribers away from hitting our sub target. So if you haven't subscribed and you are enjoying the stream, be sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you haven't hit the like button as well, that would be wonderful if you did so. But yeah, Pierre Gasly is still within DRS range of Carlos Sainz, hanging on very nicely indeed. I suspect his tyres are going to be extremely damaged, because just staying within the hot air of the car in front does no good for your tyres. And yeah. All right. What else have we got going on the circuit? We have got Norris right on the back of Hulkenberg, and Hulkenberg right on the back of Perez. We got Norris overtook Perez overtook Norris, and then Perez overtook Hulkenberg, and in that process Perez dragged along Norris onto the back of Hulkenberg. So now Hulkenberg's got a little bit of company, battling away for 8th place. Of course, McLaren haven't scored any points yet as of this season, so this will be the first points for McLaren if Norris can stay within the top 10. We've got 11 laps left of this race, and yeah, Perez has very much lost his pace again. He was very much on a roll, but now he's still the gap between himself and Stroll is 4 seconds, and he is just staying within 4 seconds. So we'll see how that goes for him. Also, Fernando Alonso, fastest lap of the race, 2/10 faster than Verstappen on the previous occasion, and the gap between himself and Hamilton, 1.1 seconds. It is so close. Can he get that final little advantage that he needs to get within DRS range? It's 1.1 seconds going down this straight. Slipstream is too far away to get a slipstream. Both drivers in the Mercedes engine, both of them got similar top speeds. And it's just now a tiny little mistake from Hamilton, just a little bit of a worse exit on the power slightly later than Alonso, and Alonso could get within the DRS range. But it is, Hamilton, as we know, very consistent driver. 1.2 seconds is the gap, and he is maintaining it that way. We'll see what Alonso can do though, and well, unfortunately now it's extended itself back up to 1.4 seconds. So we'll see. This is what happens every couple of laps. We see Fernando Alonso mount a massive attack, sets the fastest lap of the race, goes fastest through a couple of sectors, couple of corners, and then gets within 1.1 seconds of Hamilton, but then can never get within that DRS. And it is, yeah, it's extremely tough to do that. And I said, like, I think it must have been like 2 minutes ago that I said that Perez has just lost all of his pace. He has now picked up all of his pace again, fastest lap of the race, and is closed the gap to Stroll by 1 second in one lap. Harsh Chowdhury, keep it up, F1 Gamer, nice work. Very much do appreciate the supportive messages, guys, in the chat. Very much is appreciated. Yeah, Ruben Tambleson, yeah, Perez has reduced his gap by basically a second over the span of one lap. It is pretty incredible how the drivers just pick up the pace immediately. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. A 124 for Max Verstappen. What is going on here? Max Verstappen has he made a mistake in the third sector? I think that's all that's happened. Max Verstappen made a mistake in the third sector. That's why he has set a 124 lap time. And yeah, as expected, back to the 121s. Max, fell asleep for a sec or something. Yeah, it was a bit of a strange occurrence there. He lost 4 seconds suddenly, but a little bit of a mistake. But it was a lock-up. Yeah, to be fair, locking up going into turn number 13 is fairly easy. So you can't really blame him. But now, yeah, he was just after that lockup, he's just weaving around the circuit, trying to get some temperature into those tyres. And here he goes, fastest first sector. Yeah, getting that temperature into the tyres and just immediately going fastest first sector. Typical Max Verstappen, really. Yeah. All right. Gasly has been within DRS range of Carlos Sainz for quite a while now. He's now 0.6 behind Carlos Sainz, and the pressure that Carlos Sainz has been under basically for the second half of this race has been absolutely incredible. The way that he's kept up with it as well. Gasly has been constantly just been like right on the back of him at every single occasion, and Sainz has been managing this pressure absolutely fantastically. And yeah, I'm not sure what else to say really. Max Verstappen, fastest lap of the race, fastest first sector, fastest third sector. Can't really do much about the middle sector because you kind of need a toe to go fastest down there. But yeah, nevertheless, Max Verstappen, solid job. And I think someone pointed it out in the chat. Who was it? Still I Rise. Yeah, Max Verstappen has seriously, just locked in and done a perfect race of management. Of course, a race of management isn't exactly what we want to see, but you've got to give credit where credit is due, and Max Verstappen has been driving very nicely indeed for the past 50 laps or so, basically. Yeah. All right, we've got Lando Norris on the back of Kevin Magnussen on this previous lap, and K-Mag just doing a little bit of blocking, moving slightly later than he should have, and then blocking Lando Norris, unfortunately. I think it's still very much a racing incident. Norris came over the radio saying like he moved after I moved, but the little split-second gap between those two, between the moving of both of the drivers is it's a bit unfortunate. You can't really predict what's going to happen when. So it's been put down to a racing incident. I don't think the FAA are going to make anything of it, and yeah, Norris just has to try once again. 0.6 is the gap, and I think he'll be able to do it at some point. All right. Gap once again at the front of the field between Alonso and Hamilton is 1.5 seconds, so it's pretty close. But once again, with only 7 laps remaining now, Alonso will be just conserving all of his tires, all of his battery to go for one final solid attack. And that's all he has really, because if he tries to consistently try and catch up to Hamilton, then Hamilton is just going to consistently set faster lap times. Both of them have enough tire life because both of them, expert tire management experts, have whole years of experience. Well, not whole, decades of experience behind them, basically. So yeah, it's going to be tough for either of the driver to overtake the other or to stay behind the other. And we're going to see what Alonso can do. He will, I suspect, what he'll do with 3 laps remaining of the race. He will like deploy all of his battery, get within the DRS range, and then see what he can do from there. Yeah, Irene Azar points out, yeah, Gasly has dropped out of DRS range of Carlos Sainz. He's been within that DRS range for at least 20 laps, at least. Like, it's, yeah, I mean, the amount of time that he's been in there is fantastic, but he just hasn't been able to make any overtakes because Carlos Sainz just has the pace through the corners compared to the Alpine, and there's not much he can do about it. Lando Norris finally does get that overtake done on Nico Hülkenberg going through into turn number 12. He went for the switchback, and then Lando Norris and Nico Hülkenberg went side by side through turn number 13. It was extremely narrow, and Hülkenberg got pushed onto the gravel. So that's why the gap is 2.6 seconds already. But you know, it's just racing. You can't really complain too much. Norris, I mean, Hülkenberg will come over the radio, say he gave him no space, but if we look at the replay from Norris's perspective, Norris does the switch back at turn number 12. Oh, sorry, turn number 11. Sorry, turn number 12. He just sends one down the inside, and he does give enough room. There is room on the curb, but unfortunately, Hülkenberg's just got too much speed and cannot hold it on the curb. Of course, the curb hasn't got that much grip. There is space, but the amount of grip that's on the curb is slightly lacking. And yeah, so Hülkenberg into 9th place, Norris up into 8th, scoring the first points for McLaren of this year at least. So that's good for McLaren. They haven't had the best of starts to the season. Their car slightly lacking, and yeah. All right. We've got 5,000 people watching. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Very much do appreciate the support. And if you are enjoying the stream, then be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Yeah, we are, what, 57 subscribers away from the subscriber target. And we're a couple hundred likes away from 1,000 likes. So yeah, if you are enjoying the stream, then be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. By the way, guys, I do commentate for the qualifying sessions and all of the races for every single Grand Prix. So if you are enjoying, then yeah, be sure to tune in for future Grand Prix. But here we are now. 5 laps remain. We have a yellow flag. Ooh, this is interesting. We have a yellow flag on the circuit. Let's find out who is causing the yellow flag. Oh, we are back to green flag running, apparently. I think it must have just been a little bit of debris or something. Right, yeah, we're back to green flag running by the looks of it. Yeah, no issues for anyone. Ooh, K-Mag has stopped on the side of the circuit. Yeah, Kevin Magnussen stopped in the first sector, so he could potentially see a safe... Well, I mean, we haven't even got a yellow flag as of now, so maybe he's just parked it up in a place where he can just, like... just be recovered easily. So yeah, Kevin Magnussen has spun. Okay, right. Oh yeah, Kevin Magnussen spun and lost a tire. Right, yeah, this is a bit strange. Kevin Magnussen has only got three wheels on his car. The 4th wheel has just come off. We saw this a couple of years ago. In fact, the Haas team. Oh, we've got a full safety car, guys. Full safety car. Only 4 laps remaining of the race, so we could probably see 1 lap of racing, which would be fantastic, nevertheless. But the 3rd safety car of this race, K-Mag has just lost a wheel. Right, I will try and find out how he's just done that. But a wheel has just come off his car. There's a tire on the racing line. So, yeah, I think he spun, crashed into the barrier, and then lost a wheel. That's probably what happened. But you know, I will just have to confirm what happened. We'll get a replay shortly. But hopefully we can get 1 lap of racing right at the end. That would be brilliant. But if we do end on the safety car, it'll be rather anticlimactic. I would love to see a battle between Alonso and Hamilton on the final lap of the race. Just 1 lap to decide it all. It would be brilliant. Of course, Verstappen, it's not great for him. He had a 10-second lead over the rest of the field, and now everyone's right behind him. But it really depends how long it takes them to pick up this Haas car and get it off onto the side of... Get it away onto a safe part of the circuit. Yeah, they are still not giving us a replay of what's going on. Also, we could see a couple of drivers coming into the pits, maybe. Are we going to see anyone come into the pits? We could. I mean, I think it's fair enough if Perez comes into the pits, he might come out ahead of Lando Norris. But yeah, all right, let's see. Oscar Piastri comes into the pits, and by the looks of it, no one else is coming into the pits. With only 4 laps left to go, you are going to lose a load of position. So let's see what happens to Kevin Magnussen. Going down the start-finish straight, he hits the brakes, goes into turn number 1, gets over the curb, goes just fine. Oh, in fact, he just hits the barrier on the exit of turn number 2. It doesn't look like he had nothing strange to him. It's like didn't lose control of the car or anything. He just well, the barrier is very close to the edge of the circuit at that point, so he was going all over the curb, that's for sure. And then just misjudged it. I'm expecting, like, yeah, it looks like he just misjudged it, and lost and just drove into the wall. Very, very strange crash, to say the least, there from Nico Hülkenberg. Did I just say Nico Hülkenberg? From Kevin Magnussen. Yeah. All right. Hülkenberg has stopped. Oh, Hülkenberg has stopped. We've got a red flag. Wait, have they just red flagged the race? Hülkenberg has stopped. I mean, it might be a GPS failure, but I will find out in 30 seconds what happens, because there is a little bit of a... Oh no, Hülkenberg's car's fine. Okay. I don't know why we've got a red flag. Why it says we've got a red flag. Oh, it must be because there must be damage to the circuit or the debris or something. But if there is a red flag, we could potentially see the race not restart. There's always a potential for that. So yeah, red flag is out. So let's change that to a red flag. 2 red flags this Grand Prix. Right. Let's see what the FIA says. Are they going to restart the race, or are they going to... Yeah, so they stopped the race because there's so much debris going down the second straight. So that is why they have stopped the race, to clear all of the debris up. And now it's more of a question of, are they going to restart the race with only 3 laps left of the race? Are they going to restart? Is it worth it? We'll just have to see, really. There's not much we can really say. The FIA, it's their decision, their call. But with 3 laps of racing, I would love to see a 3-lap sprint race to the end of the race. Everyone's going to fit the soft tires. We're going to have some fantastic racing, to say the least, if we do restart the race. We'll just have to we'll have to find out. We're on lap number 56 of 58. So when the drivers come out of the end of the pit lane, they will do 1 full lap. They'll be on lap 57 of 58. When they cross the line, so we'll have 2 laps of racing after the red flag. But I suspect we have 38 minutes left on the clock, in like the 2-hour window that the race is meant to finish. So we should be fine for just doing for restarting the race after a little bit. Yeah, a whole lot of drama for sure. The teams and the drivers are getting out of the car. Max Verstappen has got did take his steering wheel out and climb out of the car. I suspect a couple of other drivers will be doing the same. It depends how long it takes to clear up the debris, really. There's a whole bunch of carbon fiber all over the circuit, because basically the rear tire came off the car, and then the wheel hub where the tire attaches to, that was just scraping all over the ground. So then, yeah, the entire wheel hub and everything is just made out of carbon fiber. So there's carbon fiber all over the circuit, and we'll see how long that takes to clear up. But we should probably, like, if I'm giving an estimated time, like just off predicting how long it will take, it will be probably 10 minutes max, 10-15 minutes tops. Yeah, the drivers still have their helmets on, so it's usually, because we don't know, the FIA, the teams get told first. So if the drivers have their helmets on, then it's usually not too long. The previous red flag, they took all their helmets off, put on their like caps and whatnot. So yeah, how many laps left? Once the red flag is finished, there will be 2 laps of racing left. So that's what will happen. All right. Yeah, it was very, very close to being over. Tire update. Well, I suspect everyone who's on the hard tires will switch over to the medium tire, to the soft tires. Sorry, since you are just going to be going right to the end of this race. We had Piastri, Zhou, Tsunoda all come in for soft tires under the safety car when it was a safety car and not a red flag. But when they realized how much debris there was on the circuit, they switched it out to a red flag on the track. So yeah, there we go. Also, guys, we are 80 likes away from hitting 1,000 likes, and we are what, like 28 subscribers away from hitting the subscriber target. So if you are enjoying the stream, then be sure to hit a like, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. And I guess a little bit of plugging here in the description. There is links to F1 merch. I think there's a discount code as well. I think it's F115. Like F115 is the discount code, and you get like 10% off all merch. So yeah, there's links to F1 merch in the description if you are interested in getting merch for your favorite driver or favorite team. Then go ahead and check that out. If you have any feedback for my commentary, then unlike stuff that I can improve and stuff, then be sure to let me know currently in the chat. And there is also a survey in the description as well. And then, of course, there is my Instagram, Twitter, and Discord links in the description if you are interested in following that. But that's the plugging stuff out of the way. There's no need to do all of that. And now we are back to... this is slightly strange. They are wheeling the Valtteri Bottas's car. Oh, they're pushing it up to get weighed. Okay, that's what they're doing. The FIA have been like, okay, so while we have a red flag, can you please we want to weigh your cars to check it's all within the rules and everything. So yeah, Alfa Romeo and Williams taking one of their cars down to the front of the pit lane. Also, we've got a time on restart. We are restarting the race in 9 minutes time. The race will restart in 9 minutes. So in fact, I'll just put a little timer up. Let's see. Race restarts in 9 minutes time. There we go. All right. So only a matter of time now before we get going. George Russell's parked up at that, well, it stood, in fact, right in front of the Red Bull car, just looking at the mechanics doing their stuff. And yeah, the drivers will be getting ready to go back into their car. We're like 10 subscribers away from 53k. We've hit 1,000 likes, which is brilliant. Thank you everyone for all the support. I'm just gonna have a quick drink of water. Remember to stay hydrated, because my throat is getting rather husky. All right. So what has happened? We have had 56 laps of racing. So what's happened so far? So on the first lap of the race, Charles Leclerc got spun out. Well, got hit by Lance Stroll, went into a spin, got stuck in the gravel trap. Then we had Sainz and Russell pit under safety car conditions. Oh no, sorry. Then we had Alex Albon crash, and then we had a safety car, and then in that safety car we had Russell and Sainz pit, and then after that, oh no, my throat wasn't going husky, my voice was going husky. Anyway, what happened after that was those two drivers went into the pits. They got then we had a red flag, so those drivers lost out because they came into the pits for no reason, basically because they could have just done their pit stop during the red flag. So after that happened, we had everyone basically on hard tires just cruising around, and we had George Russell with an engine failure. He lost out. Well, George Russell had an engine failure. He had smoke coming out of his car, fire coming out of his car, so he parked up. We had another, I think it was a virtual safety car for that, because George Russell parked it up just outside the pit lane, so they just pushed his car back into the pits. And that's what happened for him. And apart from that, we've just had
Hamilton, Alonso, and Sainz get very, very close to each other, but not actually make any overtakes, not get within DRS range either. So that's what's happened so far, and now we've just had a safety car and then a red flag because Kevin Magnussen crashed into the barrier at turn number 2, ripping a tire off, putting a whole bunch of debris all over the circuit, and then causing, well, yeah, that's what's happened. A whole bunch of debris all over the circuit, and that's why we have the red flag. We are going racing in 5 minutes time. They are just clearing up all the debris very, very soon. And yeah, so that's what's happened so far in the race. We have 2 laps of racing after the red flag. DRS will not be enabled for the final 2 laps because there is, after the race starts, you have 3 laps and then DRS gets enabled. So with only 2 laps left of the race, DRS will not be enabled. Any overtakes will happen, will be pure slipstream and just full send. So we could see maybe Hamilton win the race. We could see Alonso win the race. But we could also see Verstappen just like absolutely send it. So yeah. Oh, also we've hit 53k. Thank you very much for I guess, yeah, everyone that has subscribed. Thank you very much for the subscriptions. And I hope you're enjoying the commentary. Yeah, I very much do appreciate all of the subscribers, and hope to see you guys for future streams. Yes, only 2 laps to go of this race now. Yeah. All right, we'll see what happens. Maybe, I don't know if K-Mag can actually take part in this race anymore. There was a whole bunch of damage on his car, like sparks flying everywhere, debris has gone everywhere, but we'll see. I don't think he can take part because I think his car like has been assisted by a tractor or something, which means that he can't legally take part in the race again. But yeah, I will get you an update on that. I will also get an update on which tires everyone is on as well, because once you're in red flag conditions, you can switch up whichever tire you're on and you can choose a different tire. So we'll see what tires everyone chooses for. Also, I don't know why everyone is like, why it says Leclerc and Albon are up there on the map, because the GPS is quite obviously broken. But that will update once the race restarts. Well, in fact, actually, Kevin Magnussen, Leclerc, and Albon, that's where they crashed. And Russell's also there, so that's why they're still on the map. Yeah. All right. Can Piastri take advantage on Ocon? Well, the thing is, if the safety car had come out and there hadn't been a red flag, then he definitely could have, because he has soft tires and Ocon has 53 lap old hard tires. But I suspect once they come out of the pits now, which they will in 3 minutes time, we will see that everyone is on soft tires for the end of the race, because, well, I mean, there's no other choice really, otherwise you're just going to get swamped off the race start. I mean, who knows? With 2 laps after the race, we could see Verstappen and Hamilton crash into each other. Fernando Alonso takes the win with Carlos Sainz in 2nd place and Pierre Gasly in 3rd. Like that could be that's a possibility. Of course, whenever there's a race restart, there are so many different possibilities that can happen. Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. We will have to wait and see. All right. I don't know what tires they are out on. Once the drivers come out of the pit lane and cross the first sector line, I'll get an update on what tires they're on. But what I'm expecting is everyone's on softs. And I think everyone will have a fresh set of soft tires, maybe, or maybe they'll have like a 2 lap old tires that they used in quali. So yeah. Also, I would like to point out that Sergio Perez has fastest lap after Karen asked. Yeah, Sergio Perez has the fastest lap of the race. We'll see. That probably will change because everyone will come out on soft tires, but nevertheless, that is to be expected. All right. Also, Bottas, Sargent, Nick de Vries are currently coming out of the pit lane. They are out of the pit lane because they've been lapped, so they're coming out, unlapping themselves, and then going to the back of the grid. Oh, that's why they were being pushed to the front of the pit lane, not because the FIA were weighing them. Yeah, because the FIA usually only weigh them during quali or like after the race is finished or something. Yeah, so Sergeant De Vries and Bottas are just driving around, unlapping themselves, and then they will park up at the end of the pit lane. And we will be going for the race restart in 50 seconds now. 50 seconds. Okie dokie. All of you guys that have tuned in from the start of this race very much is appreciated. Thank you everyone for tuning in. It's been more than, I think, 2 hours now. We're coming up to the 2 hour mark. 2 hours 10 minutes I've been streaming. So yeah, everyone that's been here from the start very much is appreciated. All right, 20 seconds left, and we'll have a green light at the end of pit lane. Everyone will come out, and we'll see what tires everyone is on. Okie dokes. So here they come then. 10 seconds, and we'll have a 2-lap sprint at the end of this race. This is going to be fantastic. There's no DRS, just slipstream and whatever pace you can muster out of your soft tires, I presume. So here they go. We got a green flag at the end of the pit lane. Let's just change up what it says on the screen. Okie dokes. And all of the drivers now just coming out of the pit lane. Here they go then. We are on lap number 56 of 58, and that means that once the drivers come all the way around, we'll be on lap number 57 of 58, and then they will start on lap number 57. They'll complete the 57th lap, they'll complete the 58th lap, and that'll be the end of the race. So 2 laps of racing. Formation lap counts as 1, so we'll do the 56th lap is the formation lap, the 57th lap is the first lap of racing, the 58th lap is the final lap of racing. All of the drivers are still on the map because that's where they DNF'd, and the map just displays its last known GPS position, so that is why they are still up on the map. I will change it to the old map, like the map that I had previously for next weekend in Baku. It's just that FOM has been slightly questionable in their choices of who they're banning and who they aren't, so I just have to be a little bit careful on what I'm using and what I'm not. So there we are. Okie dokie then. Oh my god, there's another guy streaming called Formula Gamer. I mean, I wouldn't like to. There's another guy streaming on YouTube with basically the same, and it's Formula Gamer. Oh my god. Oh well. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So here we are now. We have got. We are currently in the formation lap. Drivers just warming up their tires, getting their clutch settings ready and everything. And here we go. Then we will be going racing very, very shortly indeed. Everyone just doing those fun little burnouts on their cars, getting those rear tires up to temperature. As expected, everyone is on soft tires. Norris, Perez are on fresh sets of softs. Everyone, Norris, Perez, Ocon, Zhou, fresh sets of softs. Everyone else is on soft tires that are basically new, like done 3 or 4 laps or something. So it's nothing out of the ordinary. Everyone on softs though, for 2 laps of racing. You very much love to see it. This will be fantastic to watch. So here they are now coming through turn number 13, turn number 14. Now onto the start finish straight where we will get some racing. All right, let's just get rid of this thing that says formation lap. There we go. And this is it, the final 2 laps of the 2023 Australian Grand Prix. So there it is. Max Verstappen lines up on the first place grid position. Then behind him we have Lewis Hamilton, and then Fernando Alonso right behind Max Verstappen. Also would like to point out the drivers with odd starting positions, they have the clean side of the grid. Drivers with even starting positions, they have the dirty side of the grid. But nevertheless, Everyone is on soft tires. The race will be underway very, very shortly. Everyone's just lined up now. We have Logan Sargent, Nick DeFries parked their cars in the 15th and 16th place slot. And it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights, and it is lights out and away we go. Here we go then. Pierre Gasly already up into 4th place. Verstappen, then Hamilton, and then Alonso. Alonso side by side with Hamilton going through into turn number 2. Here we go. We've got a yellow flag at the back of the field, and Stroll is up 3 places. Fernando Alonso is down into 14th. Fernando Alonso is out of this race by the looks of it. Pierre Gasly as well, losing out massively. And we've got another red flag. We've just got another red flag. They've just called out a red flag again, because we have Alonso, Stroll, Gasly, Ocon all got into a massive crash. And they've just called out another red flag. Massive crash happening here at the start of the race restart. We had Alonso, Stroll, both Aston Martins, both Alpines out of the race. I mean, this is ridiculous. I don't know how this has just happened, but they yeah, right. So let's just get a quick replay. So I'm gonna watch the replay. I'm gonna let you know in detail what has happened. But this is chaos. All right. So I mean, Aston Martin, they were scoring such solid points. We got Hulkenberg up in 4th place. Haas did not think they would be scoring a 4th place today. So at the start of this race, Verstappen had the lead, Hamilton in 2nd place. Alonso tries to go around the outside, locks up slightly. Then Alpine, we had 2 people off onto the... God, this is just carnage. I can't even describe it. Like, one driver goes too late, then they crashed into the barriers. Oh my God, this is ridiculous. Right, let's check if the race is over, because the FIA might just be like, there's too much damage. We're just gonna call the race off. That's it. Okay, but so someone locked their brakes, crashed into another driver who spun, then crashed into another driver. But yeah, both Alpines lodged in the wall at turn number 2, and it wasn't even them crashing into each other. They both just caused basically they went bowling. That's what happened. One driver locked up, another driver got crashed into, and then they all just fell over like pins at a bowling alley. Right, let me just change this to red flag again. What has happened here? This is carnage. So yeah, Alonso and Stroll got back to the pits though. They spun, got beached by the looks of it, but they didn't make it back to the pits. They had sergeants in the gravel. We have Nick DeFries in the gravel, and then Gasly and Ocon. So those are the 4 drivers that have been DNF'd. We've had 7 DNFs in this race. Very surprised. Oh no, 8 DNFs. Sorry, in this race. So yeah, just a couple $1 million of damage right there. In the space of about 30 seconds. So it was. What actually happened? So there's one driver that spun around. Who was it that spun? So we've got Fernando Alonso. Fernando Alonso got clipped by Carlos Sainz, which put him into a spin, and then Sergio Perez. Sergio Perez completely missed the corner, went all over the gravel. Then we had Pierre Gasly miss the corner as well, and basically everyone rejoined the circuit. And when they all rejoined the circuit, they rejoined in an unsafe manner. And they just caused a whole bunch of collisions. So Gasly rejoined, crashed into his teammate, I think. So actually, the turn number 1 itself, it was just Sainz clipping Alonso. That was one thing that happened, and then that was it. And then when they rejoined the circuit, the 2 Alpines basically imploded. Well, not imploded. They basically crashed each other into a wall as well. So whoever, like, Otmar Safnauer, the Alpine head, is going to have some serious words down at the down there. But he is, yeah, well, very, very annoyed. The restart procedure is under investigation. So let's have a quick look at what actually happened. So yeah, the 2 Alpines just got in each other's way, and both of them went into the wall. and then one of the tires came off the Alpine, and then they got stuck in the gravel or something, and then yeah. But the two biggest collisions that has happened there were between the Alpine cars. Fernando Alonso, he did no fault of his own. Carlos Sainz spun him around, and Alonso's down in 11th, and Sainz is up in 3rd. So I suspect, I mean, maybe the FAA, what they're going to do is they will restart the race. They will say before the red flag, whatever position you're in before the red flag, that's the position you're in for the actual condition. But I mean, it seems pretty unfair, right? Like, you think about it, Fernando Alonso, he did no fault of his own, got spun around by Carlos Sainz and loses a podium because of that. So yeah, I mean, it's unlikely. Like, even on the official F1 feed, it says unlikely that the race will start. The cars come back into the pits. Yeah, I don't think they're going to restart the race. It's more of a, because the thing is, right, what's going to happen, we're currently on lap number 58, so once they do the formation lap, they're just going to come around and cross the line, and then that'll be the end of the race anyway, so there's no point in doing that. And so the race has basically been decided. So the real question is the FIA going to go ahead with this decision, or is the FIA going to go ahead with the previous red flag conditions? But there's no more laps left at the end of this race now. So it's either Verstappen first, Hamilton second, Carlos Sainz third, or Verstappen first, Hamilton second, Alonso third. And still yet to be seen, really, what the FIA are going to do about that, because it is a pretty questionable situation. I mean, it's great for Hülkenberg and Tsunoda, like they're up in 4th and 5th place. But then then Fernando Alonso has just lost a podium because through no fault of his own. So it's like, you know, like, it's interesting. Hopefully the FIA gives us a quick decision, but I suspect, knowing the FIA, they probably won't. We'll find out like 2 days later what actually happens. Also, yeah, Alonso comes over the radio and is like, they can use the previous, there is apparently a rule in the rule book. I will in fact just mute my mic and listen to what Alonso said on the radio. Just give me 1 second, guys. Right, okay, so the rule is, if you don't complete the entire lap under red flag conditions, you can revert back to the previous occasion. So in this situation, what happened was they had an incident, a whole bunch of cars crashed, they called the red flag a quarter of the way through the lap, and if that happens, then they can revert back to the old red flag, like the laps from from basically the previous standings from the previous lap. So we could see the FIA most likely going to revert it back. This is what happened. I'm not sure which Silverstone race it happened at, but they did have it happen at apparently a Silverstone race. That's what Alonso said over the radio. So Logan Sargent, what he did, he just braked too late, went into the back of Nick de Vries. So that's what happened. Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon, they crashed into each other, and Nick de Vries and Logan Sargent braked too late and just hit Nick de Vries, and that's what happened. Was it Silverstone last year? Apparently, I think I've forgotten. But they can use the previous lap standing as the result. So that's what's going to happen, I suspect, because otherwise it's pretty unfair, really, with 4 drivers getting DNF'd on the final lap. Like, it's very questionable. I will try and find out. Like, the FIA hopefully should let us know rather quickly. But yeah, I mean, it's they shouldn't do that, to be fair. like if we're being realistic, in fact, let's just do a vote, right? Let's just we'll do a vote on our stream. We'll see what you guys think. So do we start a poll? Which result? So do you want the result from lap 55 or lap 58? Let's see. Lap 55 or... I'm just making a poll. Give me 1 sec, guys. Right, there we go. Ask your community. So yeah, you guys can vote, but I suspect, I mean, you guys in the rules of fairness, you should probably rule 55, but of course if you're like a Hulkenberg or a Tsunoda fan, you're going to be like, oh yeah, rule 58, that's fine. Lap 58, sorry. But the race will definitely be over. I don't think there's any point in restarting, but we haven't got any official word from the FIA, so it's best to... I'm just going to carry on streaming till we find out. Oh no, they definitely can't have a 1-lap race because the formation lap counts as a lap, and then they will... yeah. So by the time the formation lap is over, they've technically finished the race and they've finished all 58 laps. So it's like, yeah, not great. I mean, we have a 60-40 split. I suspect most of you who have voted for 58 are voting for the Hulkenberg podium, which by all means I would love to see a Hulkenberg podium, probably not in this manner, and I presume he doesn't want his podium to be like got by like some like weird sketchy rule. Like I prefer Hulkenberg to get his first podium just by like outright driving the car very fast. The 2-hour limit doesn't count when you have red flags. If you have safety cars and stuff, then the 2-hour limit counts, but if you are under red flag conditions, the 2 hours get paused. So that's what happens there. All right. Well, if it's lap 56, but basically lap 55, lap 56, both of them the same standings anyway, because the lap 55 was under the safety car. So that's what happened there. Is the race starting again? No, by the looks of it, is not. We have got nothing from the FIA. Race control is being as silent as ever and just telling us absolutely nothing. So, and yeah, Alfa Romeo have just tweeted, we could be here for a while. They are just waiting around till the FIA tells them something because, yeah, they haven't said anything yet. Oh my god, Lance Stroll basically just went off-roading in his Aston Martin. He broke way too late at turn number 3 and then went all the way to the end of the gravel into all of the mud and the dirt, and he got dirt all over his front tires. I just don't know, like, that's just crazy. If they all start on the grid boxes, why is there need for the formation lap? Because they're currently not on the grid boxes, they're currently in the pit lane. So to get them out to the grid boxes, they have to do a formation lap. And even if they were to carry the cars over to the over to the grid boxes, they still have to do a formation lap for the like cars to be in the correct setting, like all of the correct temperatures and everything. So you'll still have you'll still have a formation lap either way. Yeah. I mean, Stroll has just got back into his car, expecting for the race to restart. I'm not particularly sure if that's going to happen. But yeah, Stroll's got back into his car. Right. No update from race control as of yet. We're gonna find out. This is definitely something that we're gonna happen. this is definitely something that we'll find out like on lap number like tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning we'll get like a notification from the F1 app, which will be like, oh, new race results decided by FIA. So yeah, I really would like it if the FIA could just tell us now. That would be ideal, but it is also the FIA. So what can you say? What can you say? See, if you stay with lap number 58, then you have Carlos Sainz with a podium. Well, no, Carlos Sainz will probably get a penalty. In fact, actually, I don't think he will get a penalty because it's lap number 1. You basically don't get a penalty unless you intentionally like crash into someone. There's no penalty given. It's just he broke a little bit too late, and it's a racing incident for Carlos Sainz, and he'll get that podium. And if we go for lap number 55 or 56, then we will have what will we have? We'll have Alonso on the podium, but it's yeah. All right, let's see. Have the FIA given us any updates as of yet? Oh, Norris is also in the cockpit as we continue to await news from race control. Yeah. Don't they need to complete another lap? I mean, technically, well, you don't actually have to complete another lap. Like the FIA can just be like the race, because the thing is, once the drivers come out of the pit lane in this position, they're just going to do a formation lap and the race will be over. So there's no point actually doing another like stint. There's no point restarting the race because you're just gonna what is it? The positions are going to be the same anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Sorry about that. So yeah, a little bit questionable. I guess we'll wait and see what happens, to be fair. There's not really much I can say or do that's going to impact much. Right. Let's see. A rolling restart is expected. All right. So they will go back to the previous starting order minus the cars that are out of this race. And the safety car will be peeled off at the end of formation lap, which will be the final lap. Okay, so what they are going to do is restart the race with Verstappen in first, Hamilton in second, Alonso in third, Sainz in so they're going back to lap number 55 basically, and they're going to do a restart from that occasion. So basically they're just going to come into the pits, well, they're going to wheel everyone around into the correct position, and then they're going to do a formation lap, and then once the race has been over, once the formation lap is over, the race is over. So it's just I don't know, they could have just declared it like, we're going to use lap number 55, but for some reason they're going, we're going to, oh no, what they're doing, the drivers of DNF'd are out of this race. Okay, so the FIA, we had the option of lap number 55 and lap number 58. The FIA have gone for something in between. They have gone for the drivers that got DNF'd on lap number 58. They will not end the race. They will not like get their results. So say if Gasly was in like 5th position, I think Gasly will not get his 5th place result. He'll get a DNF. But the drivers in whatever position they were in, they will get. And if you haven't DNF'd on that lap, you'll get your points basically. So it's lap number 55, but anyone who's DNF'd at this point will have a DNF result instead of that position. Yeah. So as Jim Boken one says, same as lap 55, except everyone who crashed is now removed. So that's unfair on Gasly, Ocon, De Vries, Sargent. Now, I guess Gasly, Ocon, it's kind of both of their fault that they did crash. And then for De Vries, it's not really his fault. He got crashed out by Sargent. Sargent just broke too late. But yeah, so basically we have the grid positions. we have basically who's ended the race. So we got Hamilton in first. No, sorry, not Hamilton first. Max Verstappen in first. Sorry, Hamilton in second. Alonso in third. Sainz in fourth. Then we have Stroll in fifth. Sergio Perez in sixth. Whoever car number 4 is, I don't actually know which. Norris is number 4. So Norris in 7th. Then we have Piastri. I think Piastri's. Oh no, whoever's car number 27. I actually forgot all of the car numbers. Bottas is in last place, and we have basically car number 1, so Verstappen. Then car number 44, Hamilton. Car number 14 is Alonso. Car number 55 is Sainz. Car number 18 is Stroll. Car number 11 is Perez. Car number 4, which is Lando Norris, which is in 7th place. In 8th place, we have car 27, who is Nico Hulkenberg. In 9th place, we have car number 81, which I think is Oscar Piastri. Then in 9th place, we have car number 24, then 22, and then 27. So that's what's happening, basically. I suspect there's going to be a Drive to Survive episode on this. But Bottas and Tsunoda are the 2 cars that are going to miss out on points. Bottas being in 11th, Bottas being in 12th place, and Tsunoda being in 11th place. Yeah. Will Sainz be penalised and lose loads of places? Sainz will not be penalised. Because Sainz, the reason for Sainz getting penalized, like if anyone's asking why Sainz isn't penalized, think about it. So Sainz would be penalized for like spinning around Fernando Alonso and causing him to lose a bunch of places, but in this situation Fernando Alonso's in 3rd place anyway, so there's no point giving him a penalty, because whatever he's been given a penalty for has just been like reverted. But yeah, very, very, very strange. To be honest, and some drivers are sat in the car, some drivers are sat in the like pad, not in the paddock, in the garage. Yeah, very, very weird indeed. But at least they made a decision like quickly and straight away, rather than just leaving it till tomorrow. Piastri is going to get points at his home race. I think it's also decent for the fans as well. Like the fact that we're doing like a little formation lap to end the race off, basically just means the drivers can wave to the fans on the formation lap, because the decision's already been made for them, because they're under formation lap conditions. They can't make an overtake. So yeah, it's I guess it's controversial for some people. Of course, if you are like a Tsunoda fan or something, then fair enough. But I guess, I mean, thing is, you could probably just go back to 55 and just say like whatever happened after that just doesn't count. But you know, it's rules are rules, and the FIA have made the decision, so they're restarting from lap 56 or 55. It's basically the same thing, because they were under safety car conditions at that point. So yeah. All right. I also, they told us we're gonna have a rolling restart or something, but they gave us no update of when they're actually restarting it. Yeah, no time whatsoever. Also, Tsunoda has finished 11th position 3 races in a row. He has finished Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, and this race in 11th place 3 races in a row. And if you count Abu Dhabi from last year, which was the last race of last season, he has finished in 11th place 4 races in a row. Not great there for Yuki Tsunoda. Not great whatsoever. All right. We are going to have a race restart in... Oh, we've been given an update. So race restart in 9 minutes time, guys. 9 minutes and the race will restart. Which it won't be a race. It will just be drive round and then come back into the pits again. But yeah, they're doing it for the sake of just like getting everything done on the timing system, getting to wave the fans, like talk to the fans, or not talk to the fans, wave to the fans, and just have everything sorted out on track. So everyone who crosses the line on the circuit in that position will get that position. So there we go. Yeah, it's been a pretty long one, as Brian Shepherd points out. How long has it actually been? It's been coming up on 2.5 hours, 2 hours 45 minutes now. Yeah, 2 hours 40 minutes. To be fair, I did actually. Oh, if you guys remember, it was 2021 Spa. We had like 4 hours of delays, and then they just did like two laps under the safety car, and then just called it a day. Yeah, I commentated for that entire thing. To be honest, it probably improved my commentary a fair amount, because I got a whole bunch of practicing commentating, just like doing when there isn't any action going on, because of course right now there is no action going on, but I'm still talking about whatever. So yeah, I guess it's good commentary practice. Yeah. So yeah, the race is basically over. They'll do a formation lap, and by that time they will have finished all 58 laps that the Australian Grand Prix is meant to have. So they cross the line, and then they just come back into the pits again. So there's no actual racing, basically. Yeah, Japan last year was also bad with delays as well. I remember that. Japan must have been a pretty early Grand Prix, I think. This one here, because I'm in the UK, right? So this one was 5:45 a.m. that I started streaming. Had an alarm set for 5:30. But yeah, I'm fairly awake now. I've just been sat in this chair commentating for a bit. I should probably stand up a little bit. But we've had 3 red flags this race. Pretty crazy. Yes, they will still have to cross the finish line, but the rule is that you can't overtake until you get past the finish line anyway. So it's basically a parade lap. Yes, as Vincent Ching points out, it's a parade lap basically. Yeah. All right. Let's see, how long have we got left now till the session restarts? We've got 6 minutes till the session restarts. Yeah, a standing desk is actually definitely a good idea. I mean, thing is, I don't really need to be looking at that much. I can have the race going on a laptop and still just be standing up and commentating. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, if they have an engine failure on the formation lap, you will be absolutely heartbroken. But yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. The teams will put it on the lowest engine mode possible, and if not, then they'll just coast around the car. They'll switch off the actual engine and then just be like, tell the electric system to drive them around. But yeah. Did Sainz get a penalty? Oh, Sainz has got a 5-second time penalty. I don't know how that exactly counts, because if he has a 5-second, okay, so Sainz has got a 5-second time penalty, but we're finishing the race under formation lap conditions basically. So Sainz is gonna get demoted from 4th place, probably I don't know, maybe to 10th. Yeah, a 5-second time penalty will mean wherever he finishes, he's gonna have 5 seconds added onto that. But basically, because it's the start of the race, it's a rolling restart, everyone's just cramped right behind each other. So the entire you could, because Sainz is in 4th, you could just have the entire field go past the start finish line in 5 seconds, and Sainz goes back all the way to the end of the grid. So I guess we'll have to find out. That's what we're waiting for, guys. So if you guys are still here, we're going to find out where Carlos Sainz is going to finish. That's what we're here for, because other than that, we know where everyone else is going to finish. Yeah, 4 minutes now till the race restarts. Yeah. Yuki is cool. Where will he finish? Yuki is unfortunately in 11th position. Now, if Yuki finishes if Yuki crosses the line 5 seconds after less than 5 seconds after Science crosses the line, then Sonoda will be put up into 10th place. But as it stands, Sonoda's currently going to finish in 11th. Hulkenberg isn't on the podium. Hulkenberg is not on the podium, guys. They are reverting back to lap number 55 and then adding on a 5-second time penalty. So we're going to have so basically, once they come out the pit lane, they're going to come out the pit lane in Verstappen first, Hamilton second, Alonso third, Sainz fourth, Stroll fifth, and then Norris sixth. So that's what the order is going to be. And then on top of that, Sainz will have a 5-second time penalty, bringing him down. Am I going to move the place on my screen? I can't move the places. Once the drivers come out of the pit lane in like 3 minutes time, they'll automatically fix itself. They'll automatically move into position. So yeah. So Stroll is on the podium. Stroll is on the podium. Wait, no, Stroll is not on the podium. Stroll is not. Stroll will go up into 4th place. Yeah, because it'll be Verstappen, Hamilton, Alonso, and then Stroll. Yeah. Stroll will be 4th with a science penalty. Yeah, that's correct. All right. Why has Sainz got a penalty? Sainz has got a penalty. Sainz has got a penalty for crashing into Alonso, I suspect. Yeah. Mixer, you're a cool YouTuber. I've never watched one of your videos. Well, to be fair, I've only got one video on my channel. It's a history of like all of the F1 engines from like all the way back to the 1950s, all the way to like current engines and like what they sound like and all of that stuff. So yeah, if you guys are interested in that kind of, well, in that video, then go ahead and check that out. But I've only got one video up on my channel. So yeah, if you guys do have any suggestions for videos I should make or anything, then do let me know. But as of yet, there's only one video on my actual channel. The rest of them are just live streams. Right, so Science has come over the radio, says, no, it cannot be, it's unacceptable. They need to wait until the end of the race has finished and discuss with me. The penalty is too severe. That's basically what Science is saying. Because it is a 5-second time penalty for causing a collision, which he caused on lap number 57, like on the restart basically. Okay, and also we are going like on a parade lap basically in 1 minute, so that's what's happening. All right. Right. So they are coming out of the pits. We have Hamilton, Verstappen in first, Hamilton in second, Alonso in third, Sainz in fourth, Stroll in fifth, Perez in sixth, Norris in seventh, Hulkenberg in eighth, Piastri in ninth, Zhou in 10th, Tsunoda in 11th, and Bottas in 12th. Okay, so with Carlos Sainz having a 5-second time penalty, that is going to put him down. Well, if it stands as it is right now, then that's going to bring him all the way down into, what position is that going to take him down into? I'll take him down into 10th, maybe 11th. But I suspect when everyone bunches right up at the end of the, like at the start of the actual race, once they get round, then that will change. So that's what we're waiting for. This has been a pretty controversial race. controversial decisions made here and there, lots of DNFs, lots of action. But Verstappen has stayed in the lead for basically the entire, well, not the entirety, but a solid 90% of the race, and he's been managing it very nicely indeed. Had a couple of race restarts, a couple of safety car restarts to deal with. He's been doing that very well. So yeah, a well-deserved win for Max Verstappen. Hamilton also doing a solid job, staying up in second place, staying up in that podium position. Alonso as well, up into third. He did a brilliant job. And then now we have Carlos Sainz in fourth place with a 5-second time penalty. Everyone just driving around the circuit now at this point. So looking now, if Sainz gets a 5-second time penalty, he'll be demoted down probably into 10th place, maybe. Yeah, it's pretty close between 10th and 11th place. It's in everyone's best interest behind Carlos Sainz to bunch up right behind him, like as close as physically possible, so you can so you make sure that you're less than 5 seconds behind him, and you get that extra place. So everyone's now bunched up. We'll see by the time we get out of the final corner, everyone's going to be like nose to tail trying to get ahead of Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz as well will be trying to like stay ahead and not like build up as big as a gap as possible. But of course, when you have when you're in the formation lap conditions, you can't exactly build a gap. Like, that's not what the rules say. So here they are then, making their way around the grid, and everyone has crossed the line. So let's have a look. Carlos Sainz has crossed the line, and he puts himself all the way down into 12th place. Yuki Tsunoda comes into the points. Sainz finishes in 12th position. So that has been the Grand Prix, guys. Rather anticlimactic. We have got Verstappen in first, Hamilton in second, Alonso in third for a third podium in a row. Nicely done there from Fernando Alonso. And then we have got Stroll in fourth, Sergio Perez in fifth. Great recovery from him, starting the race in 20th all the way up into 5th place. Norris in 6th, Hulkenberg in 7th, Piastri scoring race at his home Grand Prix. Then we got Zhou in 9th, sorry, and Tsunoda in 10th, scoring points, breaking that streak of 3 consecutive 11th positions. And then Valtteri Bottas and Carlos Sainz, the only 2 drivers not to score points this weekend. But that has been the Grand Prix, guys. If you have enjoyed the commentary and like the whole like keeping you guys up to date with whatever's going on, then be sure to subscribe, be sure to hit the like button. And I will be streaming for the race in Baku, qualifying, the sprint race and the whole race. So there we go. Mixer wants a shout out for being here the whole time. Well, I guess fair enough, but I mean, there have been 3,000 people here. We've had so many people from a very long time now on the stream. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Very much do appreciate all your support. And yeah, have a wonderful day, morning, afternoon, evening, or night, depending on wherever you are in the world. And when I end this stream, it'll take you over to Baku's quali stream. Just hit like the reminder button and press like the like button as well. That just helps the stream out like in advance, basically. And apart from that, very much do appreciate everything. It's been a heck of a Grand Prix, and I will see you in a couple of weeks' time. Cheers, fellas.